It's 6 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: new powers to stop young people becoming radicalised. One person missing after a fire near Hitchin, and concerns about rail maintenance 15 years after the Hatfield rail crash.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. It's part of a new counter-terrorism strategy to be announced by the Prime Minister in Bedfordshire today. Tom Simons reports.
After a trial which allowed parents to have the passports of children under 16 cancelled, that power will be extended to 16 and 17-year-olds. Convicted terrorists will be banned from working with children and forced to undergo a de-radicalisation process as part of their release from prison or for suspected terrorists abroad as a condition for returning to the UK.
One person is still missing after a fire near Hitchin. The blaze spread through 2 farm cottages between Preston and Charlton yesterday morning. 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. Group Commander Frank Gallogly from Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue was at the scene.
Just after 6 o'clock this morning we were called to a serious house fire. Crews arrived quickly and worked extremely hard to bring the situation under control. At the height of the fire we had 8 crews in attendance, and we are now investigating the possibility of a fatality at this incident.
15 years on from the Hatfield rail disaster, the RMT union is raising concern about changes to the way track safety is monitored. 4 passengers died and 70 were injured when a train derailed south of Hatfield due to a faulty bit of track. Ben Nye reports.
The Safe Work Leader system has been trialled on parts of the East Midlands section with a view to being rolled out nationally. However, the union are warning that the new system causes confusion and have asked Network Rail to withdraw it. They say their reps have raised concerns, saying that conditions would actually be safer under the old system.
Prosecutions for using a phone while driving have gone down by almost half in 5 years. That's despite the Department for Transport recording a rise in the number of people spotted phoning or texting at the wheel. Just over 17,000 drivers were taken to court last year. Pete Williams from the RAC says it's a real concern for other road users.
I think responsible drivers find it incredibly frustrating that they, day in, day out, they see other motorists actually using their mobile phone while driving. And that's not just talking, but actually texting and actually browsing the internet.
In sport, Scotland have been knocked out of the Rugby World Cup, going behind in the last minute to an Australian penalty, and Ireland are also out of the tournament. They've been comfortably beaten 43-20 by Argentina. The weather cloudy this morning with the odd spot of rain, turning brighter with some sunshine this afternoon. Top temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day, yeah, yeah. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, to the blue skies, just the dark clouds far away. They'll be happy to
on FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Edward Adu.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Ooga Saga, 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 Ooga Saga.
Who's your boyfriend, Kelly?
It's Jamie. Grumpy Jamie.
Morning.
Sorry?
Morning.
I forgot Grumpy Jamie was coming in today.
Yeah.
What a buzzkill. Remind us why... I don't remember what I did yesterday, Grumpy Jamie. Remind us why I thought it was a good idea last week to invite you in.
I don't think you thought it was a good idea. But you go, it's genuine, so let's do it.
Okay. And you're here because Kelly is leaving at the end of the month.
Very true.
Have you got your tabard sorted out?
Yep.
And we are auditioning. We've got to replace Kelly, and because we're the BBC and the unique way we're funded, we have to pretend that the job is open to people outside of the BBC. It won't be. It'll be someone that works. It'll be a mate of the boss's that gets it. We know that. That's
or
how
a relation.
Or a relation. That's how it really works. But we have to pretend that it's open. So for the first hour of the show, you're Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay.
He's already done a shift, you know.
He's done a what?
He's finished work at 4 o'clock and come straight here.
Well, you know what? I couldn't care less. I'm thirsty.
2 sugars.
No sugars. But this is the thing. For the first hour of the show, Grumpy Jamie is Kelly. So if you call up now, 03459. In fact, let's. We're not going to start the show until we get a phone call. 03459 455 555. Someone phone up, and we'll audition Jumpy Gramey live. Jumpy Gramey.
Grumpy Jamie.
Lumpy gravy.
It's weak ankles all over again. We will audition Lumpy Gravy. What was he? Gropey Jamie. That was it. Gropey Jamie. We'll audition. So we're not starting the show, and I've got a story about trains here. We've got a story about the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme.
The Duke of Edinburgh's getting a very stern letter. Like he'll care.
We will not start the show until we get a phone call. So 03459 455 555. You'll go straight through to Lumpy Gravy, and we'll just sit here.
Can you give him some thinking music?
I've got.
Sorry, who are you?
What? Sorry. No, that's not it. Hang on a second. I can do the thinking music. Hang on a minute. Wrong button. Hang on a minute. Is it that one? Oh no, I've muffed it up. Oh God, let's hope someone calls quickly. Otherwise, this is going to be awkward. There we go. Yeah, here we go. 03459 455 555. By the way, if we don't get any phone calls, Grumpy Jamie, that's one bad mark next to your name, okay? Okay, that would be down to you.
Thank you.
Well, that's an absolute pleasure. Oh, we've got gold! Let him answer the phone. We've got gold in at the deep end.
Morning, Three Counties. Hello, David. How you doing? Not too bad, sir.
Oh, you need polite though. That'll change.
Do you want to put him on air?
Okay. Do you want to go on air, David? Yep, no problem.
Okay, so click that.
There we go. And
then you're going to drag him down to a line.
There we go. I don't seem to be able to do it here.
Yep.
Good morning, David.
Oh, hang on.
Hang on, he's gone.
Oh,
You opened too early.
his name was there.
And then do it again. Into that one.
Good morning, David.
Get it started, yeah?
We're getting the party started with you, David.
Well, there you go. I thought I'd give you that favour.
What? Well, I'm sure.
How was your customer experience this morning? What do you think of Lumpy JV?
Yeah, he's making a good start.
Yeah. Any negative points of that call you just had?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So marks out of 10 for Jumpy Gravy.
Oh, little bit of tidying up. I'll give him a high 8.
A high 8. Well, David, great, strong call as well, David. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. There we go. A high 8.
Say thank you to him now, Jamie, and dispatch him.
Oh,
thank you, David.
There we go. Thank you. It's a high 8 there from David in Hitchin. Good
Gosh.
start. Strong start. So far, Jamie's
He's very
in the lead.
discerning as well, isn't he, David?
Yeah, well,
He
he's very something. Jamie's in the lead. He's fair play. He's the only one so far. But we've got Ribena Rosie coming in tomorrow. She's my favourite.
Is she though?
She's my favourite out of the two of them. Yeah, he gets on my nerves.
Oh.
Can he hear me?
Yeah, a bit.
Balls. Now, 15 years after the Hatfield rail disaster, the RMT is concerned that recent changes could put track safety at risk. The union believes that the way rail standards are now monitored isn't as safe as the previous system. Catherine, what are the unions saying?
Well, it sounds like they're warning against complacency in terms of rail safety, particularly given this anniversary of the Hatfield rail disaster. They're warning against this new way that Network Rail are looking at delivering rail maintenance. They're using something called the Safe Work Leader Programme.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they've requested that Network Rail withdraw this system, which is currently being trialled in the East Midlands, but is due to be rolled out nationally. They say the new system's too confusing, particularly when it begins being used by different subcontractors maintaining tracks up and down the country. And some of their reps have said that the old system was actually safer, and which is why the RMT would like to consult with Network Rail on a new system that works.
15 years since the disaster at Hatfield. Remind us what happened.
OK, well, it was a train travelling from King's Cross to Leeds. It derailed just south of Hatfield Station, killing 4 passengers and injuring 70. Now, having reached a speed of around 150 miles per hour, investigations revealed that the train hit a cracked bit of track, which fractured as the train passed over, causing many of the carriages to tip over. Now, at the time of the crash, the tracks were owned by a company called Railtrack and maintained by the subcontractors Balfour Beatty. A court case followed, with both companies acquitted of corporate manslaughter charges, but they were found guilty of breaching health and safety legislation. Prosecutors during the trial said the crash was the result of a cavalier approach to safety. As a result, Railtrack were left with a £733 million bill for repairs and compensation, which helped trigger its collapse. And the tracks passed into the ownership of Network Rail, which was instructed by the government to improve safety.
Okay.
Now, in many ways, Hatfield was the defining moment in changing the way railways were monitored and safely maintained, which is why the RMT is speaking up now.
Thank you very much indeed. 03459 455 555. We're auditioning Grumpy Jamie for Kelly Betts' job. Can he fill her slot?
Think it's time for a change. You may get disgusted, start thinking that I'm strange. The kids are going to ground, get some heavy rest. Never have to worry about what is worst or what is best. Do it. Oh, domino. I said, oh, domino. Romeo, there you go. Say it again. I said, oh, domino. I said, oh, domino. Dig it. Hear from him. That just meant it didn't call. All vice versa. That depends on wherever you're at. And if you never hear from me, that just means I would rather not. Oh, domino. All right. Romeo, there you go. Lord have mercy. I said, oh, domino.
the wrong button. Oh, I'm gonna go through all these now. What the hell is that? Hang on a sec. Don't matter. I'm just trying. I blame Jamie. Blame you, Jamie.
Not a problem.
Thank you. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Hang on. That's the wrong one. Hang on. We'll get there.
What's going on?
No, that's the wrong one. Hang on.
Across.
No, that's the wrong one. And then this should be the right one. Beautiful. Smooth.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Preston, just south of Hitchin, Charlton Road's closed at Holes Farm in Offaly because of a building fire at the weekend. In Neaston on the North Circular Road, there are queues building up approaching the Neaston interchange all the way from the M1 at Staples Corner in the roadworks. And the A40 in Beaconsfield has roadworks at Burke Road. There's stop-go boards before this, so that could cause some delays this morning. There's no reported problems on the motorways so far, and it's moving well on the M1 in both directions through the roadworks between junction 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable. On the train departure boards, though, the 6:23 service from Milton Keynes Central to Glasgow Central is delayed by 20 minutes. It's Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. There's the first wobble of the day. 6:16, Monday the 19th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Prime Minister will announce new measures to stop teenagers being radicalised this morning. Good luck with that. One person is still missing after a blaze which destroyed 2 farm cottages near Hitchin, and the RMT union says it's still concerned about rail safety 15 years after the Hatfield rail crash.
Do you like to keep your eye on the weather? Do you like to record the changing seasons where you live? Does the science of weather fascinate you?
We have high pressure in charge of the weather. That means lots of sunny spells around.
There's something new coming to BBC Three Counties Radio, and we need your help with it. You'll need to have a computer, smartphone or a tablet and access to the internet. If you're interested in taking part, send your contact details to 3cr@bbc.co.uk.
I'm trying to find a song on me. Hang on a minute. Is this it? I'm trying to find a song on. Yeah, this is it. Right, hang on a second. I'm trying to find a specific song, Catherine.
Okay.
And I've found the specific song.
Good news for everyone.
Here it is. A little bit of country rock and roll. Sorry.
All right.
Right, Geese, what's going on out there?
Yeah, just talking to Jamie about
what?
About your play-out system and where your music comes from.
Goodness sakes.
Poor Jamie.
He's very interested. He's asking all the right questions.
Well, ask us a question then. For those who don't know, Kelly Betts is leaving. Grumpy Jamie's coming for the first hour of the show to try and do her job. Ask us a question.
I was just interested where the songs come from.
Come from my brain. Where the songs come from?
Yeah.
Well, the artists, they get inspiration from a loved one or a childhood memory or, maybe...
Sandwich.
A sandwich.
I was thinking more your choice of music.
Sorry. I've got the music on my Mac, so it's on my Mac. Sorry, I thought you meant where does the...
Where does music come from?
Well,
That's
for
a good
example,
question.
in the middle of the night, the Billy Joel song
I go walking in my
comes from a dream. I get. He says it in the middle of the night. I go walking in my sleep, and the valley so deep, but I'm in the sunshine. We're gonna do it as I.
You're going to play it now, aren't you?
On the river of dreams, in the middle of the night,
in the middle of the, I go walking in the middle of the,
I go walking in the middle of the, I go walking in the.
Do you wish that you hadn't asked?
In the middle of the night, I go walking in my dreams.
Sleep.
Through the valley so deep and the river so cruel.
So what?
We all live in the sunshine. We all grew up in the town. I don't want to get it out. I don't want to
get it out, did you sing?
I go walking in the...
See, the awkward bit now, Jamie, is that there's a guest on the line. So the guest hears all this nonsense.
I go walking in the...
Sorry for the
So
guest.
that's where Billy Joel gets his inspiration from for his music, from his dreams. Or if he goes uptown,
yep,
and he sees a girl, he might get a little bit of inspiration from that. Or if he stood around a brazier with some hobos, he might get a little bit of inspiration from.
What was that one?
Oh, hang on a minute. I was trying to.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a mashup there. What I'm really meant to be doing is this.
I go walking in the middle of
the night. I go walking in my sleep. In the middle of the night. I can do all the voices, the high and the low. Can't do the middle so well, Jamie.
He didn't ask.
How are them phone calls going, fella?
Flat out.
Okay.
It's because I'm on here. No one's calling.
Well, yeah, because no one wants to talk to you.
Oh, no.
No, that's not true. A lot of girls on Twitter are saying, well done, Jamie, 10 out of 10. That's only Hannah, though, and she's only got days left to live. So
she's in hospital.
She's in hospital. And Joe is saying, my train commute is being made much giggler because of Gropey Jamie. So you're making women giggler, really.
You're going to get me in trouble.
No, well, that's another one of your job description things. 03459 455 555. We'll have some more of that later on. Now, villagers in Buckinghamshire say their countryside is being destroyed by kids doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme. So much so that they're planning to write to the Duke of Edinburgh himself. According to Chartridge Parish Council, the way some of the participants behave is a disgrace, and they're responsible for trespassing, spoiling crops and littering. Well, Stuart White owns a farm in the village. Morning, Stuart. What's going on?
Good morning. Morning. We've got a farm on the edge of Chartridge, and we have Braid Wood, which is where all the Duke of Edinburgh are heading, and they are just all trespassing in a straight line as quick as route as they can to get to the wood.
Blimey. So what are they? So what route should they be taking, and what route are they taking?
There's a footpath round probably 50% of our fields, so around the edges or across the middle. So we would hope they would stick to the footpath, but they're just aiming to get to the wood as quick as possible. So they'll just cut across the middles or just try to take the quickest route to get to the wood. But
is that it?
I mean, the worst problem is in sort of June, July time, the crops are quite tall, so when they walk on these crops, that they don't ever stand back up again. So they're actually destroying the crop as they walk through it.
Right. How much damage are they doing?
Cool, a lot of damage. Yeah. So obviously the crop doesn't stand up, and there's and every time they have dinner, they sit in the crop. So they obviously
They sit in the crop and have dinner?
Yeah, you see them on the side of the road, which is fair enough. You can see them on the banks at the side of the road. We don't mind them sitting right on the edge, but, you know, they sit in the crop and they always leave their rubbish behind and they...
Why would they sit in the crop and have dinner?
Yeah. They obviously... And when they eat their packed lunch, they leave their rubbish behind when they move on. So, yeah, it's become quite an issue. And this is happening from from March right through till now, really. And it's just continue every single weekend, every Saturday and Sunday.
Have you spoken to the people that are in charge of the people that are in charge of those specific deer ears?
No, we can't. We aren't able to trace any of the groups. We've been up to the camp where they're heading when a problem occurs, and we have no way of identifying the culprits.
Right. Have you spoken to them when they're doing it?
Yeah, we speak to them, and they're either fairly abusive or they just walk off. And even we've had adults that have been with them, and they will not. All we want them to do is to try and appreciate the countryside code. We're not trying to stop anyone coming. I mean, it's fantastic they're all doing the project. We're just trying to identify the people.
So you're telling me that you go there, right, and they've dropped rubbish, and they won't pick it up when you tell them?
No.
Oh,
My
really?
wife has asked them to go back once, and they did. We did get a group to turn around and go back, but we can't. You know, it's quite a issue now. So.
So you're going to write to the Duke of Edinburgh? What are you doing that for? Because he's not going to reply, is he?
Well, we hope he would.
He's not. Come on, Stuart. He's not going to reply, is he?
Well, we've tried to lower down. You know, we've worked our way up. We've tried to get a response from people, and we can't.
The Duke of Edinburgh's not going to be. You know, it's the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme. He don't really have much to do with it.
We don't have much to do with it.
No, he doesn't have much to do with it.
No. But where do we go from here? We've written to the people that own the camp. They say it's nothing to do with them. We've written to some people in the Duke of Edinburgh, and they say, oh, you know, how do we identify them? So you know, where do we go from now? So we presume we work to the top man and try and get a...
You don't, Stuart, come on, you don't genuinely believe he's going to reply, do you?
Well, we'll see, won't we?
I'll tell you now, he ain't going to... Thanks very much for your letter. The Duke takes it on board. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
Well, that may be the thing, but, I mean, we'll give it a try, see what happens, see if we can get a response from
Or do you just accept the fact that, you know, that in the countryside there are idiots that leave litter and do things that they shouldn't do? You know, there's some woods near me, there's litter there. If I've got my hands free, I'll pick it up and put it in the bin.
Yeah.
That's just what people do.
But should we be there with people are doing this for part of the countryside code? You know, that is part of the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme, isn't it? To respect the countryside and
Countryside
follow the countryside
code. Well, are they shutting the gates?
No, we found gates, and we've had a neighbour where there was a cow laying down, and they found them kicking it. I mean, that's not part of the countryside.
Come on, Stuart, you did not find
Duke
of Edinburgh award people kicking a cow.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that.
Yes.
They were kicking a cow.
Yeah. I mean, there's litter in the fields where the cattle are. So
But there's litter. But listen, we know that the litter is bad. Of course it is, and it's one of the things that really annoys me. But I mean, it's that in the great scheme of things, a little bit of litter. I mean, kicking a cow, if that actually happened, that is bang out of order.
That's true. That's true.
You never pushed over a sleeping cow?
I've never pushed over a sleeping cow.
Okay, it was a big thing when I never did it, but it was a big thing when I was at school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pushing over a sleeping cow, because they sleep standing up, don't they?
Well, not all the time, but
No, not when they've been pushed.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, I never did it. I thought it was terrible. I think leaving litter is terrible. I just, you know, well, I wish you the best of luck, Stuart, because if they are kicking cows and dropping litter, that is bang out of order. And you know, I just don't think the Duke of Edinburgh is actually going to.
Well, we'll see. It's just we all live in a beautiful countryside.
Oh, I agree.
We just don't want to spoil it. And
I agree. And dropping litter in the countryside it's just one of my bugbears. I just, you know, there isn't. Put it in your pocket, you know, or don't take crisps with you or something.
No.
Stuart,
the best option was if we could just get a labelling system on the groups, even a colour coding system. Then we can say, well, purple was running straight across the middle of a field. Can we just, you know?
Stuart, prove me wrong. If you get a letter back from the Duke of Edinburgh, phone me up and you can wave it in my face and I will eat humble pie, sir.
No, we'll come back on and
Brilliant.
tell you what happens.
Best of luck. Thank you very much, Stuart.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
50s or early...
On the M25 anti-clockwise approaching junction 19 for Watford, and there are delays from junction 21 for the M1, and that's because of a 4-vehicle accident there. And the A414 at Park Street's looking very busy at the Park Street roundabout. On the North Circular Road approaching the Neaston interchange from the Brent Cross flyover, there are delays through the roadworks. And in Hitchin, or just south of Hitchin in Preston, Charlton Road's closed between Preston Village and Charlton. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines. Parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. It's part of a new counter-terrorism strategy to be announced by the Prime Minister in Bedfordshire today. One person is still missing after a fire near Hitchin. The blaze spread through 2 farm cottages between Preston and Charlton yesterday morning. 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. 15 years on from the Hatfield rail disaster, the RMT union is raising concern about changes to the way track maintenance is monitored. 4 passengers died and 70 were injured when a train derailed south of Hatfield due to a faulty bit of track. The weather will be cloudy this morning with the odd spot of rain, turning brighter with some sunshine this afternoon. Top temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Scotland suffered an agonising last-minute defeat to exit the Rugby World Cup at the hands of Australia. Leading 34-32 with a couple of minutes left, they were controversially penalised for a penalty. Here's captain Greg Laidlaw.
It's tough to take, especially in that manner, to lose it at the death and put so much into the game. We played for 80 minutes and I was just gutted. We gutted to lose and to lose in that manner as well.
Ireland are out of the tournament after being thrashed 43-20 by Argentina, who scored 4 tries at the Millennium Stadium. Coach Joe Schmidt says his side paid the price for a poor start, which saw them 17 points down inside the first quarter of an hour.
We just didn't get the start that we needed, particularly with a group that were low on experience, and therefore the confidence got dented a little bit. But I was incredibly proud of the way that they fought their way back into the contest. When you try too hard a little bit at the end, you throw a few things around and you get loose, and with the speed merchants they've got, they finished another couple of tries, which was pretty hard to take in the context of how much effort had been put in.
On to football, Jorginho Wijnaldum was the hero as Newcastle earned their first win of the Premier League season, beating Norwich 6-2 at St James's Park.
Now to Wijnaldum for Newcastle, weaves in field and smashes in a goal! Oh, he's got 4!
Watford were beaten 3-0 at Vicarage Road by Arsenal, but the MK Dons won 3-0 against Blackburn in League One. It was a 2-1 defeat for Luton against Crawley in League Two, despite taking the lead, and Stevenage beat Wickham 2-1. And in cycling, Welling's Laura Trott won the Omnium on the final day of the European Track Cycling Championships. BBC Three Counties News and Sport, more at 7 o'clock.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, I did the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme, and had I been found to be guilty of kicking a cow, that would be instant failure.
I did it too.
I bet you did it. I bet you got gold.
Yeah, I did.
I got bronze, and I thought, this is boring.
It was boring.
This is like for do-gooders.
Yep.
It
certainly helped me in my job, though.
Grumpy Jamie, ever done a Duke of Edinburgh?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Ever done anything? Okay, so you're writing your CV. You got the sack from your job. Sorry, I meant to tell you we had an email from your boss. He heard you this morning. You've got the sack from your job. So you're writing your CV. Now, you've got all the qualifications, your A-levels and your GCSEs and your BTECs and your national diplomas, all of that. That's great, right? We've got your career history. We've got that break of 7 years in the middle for when you were doing Bird. What are you gonna put down as your little extra stuff that's really gonna sell it to you? You can't put down hobbies, walking and reading, which is always what are your hobbies? I like walking and reading.
Films. It's good if you do it at the same time, though.
No, I hate those people.
It's hard.
If you go in London, you'll always see some smug get reading. It's generally Harry Potter while they're walking along the train platform or down Oxford Street. No, walk. Read when you sit. Walk when you walk.
When you walk.
So, Jamie, we've given you some thinking time there. What's going to go on the CV you're applying for this job? What's going to go on the CV that's really going to swing it for you? Because at the moment, so far, you've not done brilliantly, despite what Scott and Joe and Hannah are saying on the tweets. So what are you going to put on there that's going to swing it for us, mate?
How about sleeping? I'm pretty good at that.
Not necessary for this job, is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's technically not going to.
Although it is my favourite hobby at the moment.
Yeah, that's not.
Love it.
I love a good sleep. Anything else? Anything else you do that's unique?
Nothing really. Just follow football, which you don't like.
Okay,
so
it's
I'm not
really-
not going to get the job.
It's very, very unlikely.
Very true.
Although with the BBC, although it's the 21st century, I'll be honest, if someone's got a cracking pair of boobs, they stand a better chance. I'll be honest. Listen, I've got to look out there every single day. It's like being it's like in series 1 of The Walking Dead when they're stuck inside that dome and they look out and all they can see are zombies. That's how I feel. I feel like Egg in The Walking Dead from This Life. What's his name? Good actor, Andrew Lincoln. I feel like Andrew Lincoln, right? Not Andrew Lincoln the actor, because he must feel on top of the world. He's cracked it. But I feel like the American police officer he plays, Series 1 of The Walking Dead, where they're inside like the security and they can look out the window and all they can see is like zombies. Or in Series 3 where they're in the prison and they're outside the fence, all they can see zombies. That's what I get when I'm looking out the window at you guys.
I haven't seen it, but...
Have we got time to explain what we see when we look in at him?
I'm afraid, unfortunately, Kelly, we haven't.
You know when you go to Monkey World?
Guys, I'm sorry. We haven't got time for
And
that.
there's one monkey.
Oh, GGO. Now, right here on our stage, BJ and the Affordables.
Listen, boy, I don't want to see you let a good thing slip away. You know I don't like watching anybody make the same mistakes I made. She's a real nice girl and she's always there for you. But a nice girl wouldn't tell you what you should do. Oh, listen, boy, I'm sure that you think you got it all under control. You don't want somebody telling you the way to stay in someone's soul. You're a big boy now and you'll never let her go. But that's just the kind of thing she ought to know. Tell her about it. Tell her everything you feel. Give her every reason to accept that you're for real. Tell her about it. Tell her all your crazy dreams. Let her know you need her. Let her know how much she means. Listen, boy, it's not automatically a certain guarantee. To ensure yourself, you got to provide communication constantly. When you love someone, you're always insecure. And there's only one good way to reassure. Tell her about it. Let her know how much you care. When she can't be with you, tell her you wish you were there. Tell her about it every day before you leave. Pay her some attention, give her something to believe. 'Cause now and then she'll get to worrying, just because you have been spoken for so long. And though you may not have done anything, will that be a consolation when she's gone? Listen, boy, it's good information from a man who's made mistakes. Just a word or two that she gets from you could be the difference that it makes. She's a trusting soul, she's put her trust in you. You know she put her trust in you. But a girl like that won't tell you what you should do. Tell her about it, tell her everything you feel. Give her every reason to accept that you're for real. Tell her about it, tell her all your crazy dreams. Let her know you need her, let her know how much you mean. Tell her about it, tell her how you feel right now. Just tell her about it. The girl don't want to wait too long. You got to tell her about it. Tell her now when you won't go wrong. You got to tell.
I I think it's time to reassess the career of Billy Joel as perhaps one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time.
Not a dancer, though.
A little bit of controversy on Twitter about that last story we did.
Why? What's controversial about pushing over a cow?
Scott Balcony has taken great offence at the story, OK? For those who just missed it, there's a farmer upset about the way the Duke of Edinburgh's are behaving.
He's not the only one.
Scott says, this poor farmer, and they think they've got it tough in Syria. Right? When I replied, mate, they've been kicking cows. A friend of his saw
they've
it.
been kicking a cow.
And he says if they'd really been kicking cows, he would have opened with that. I smell cowpats. And then Andrea in America says, this is so... Sorry, I was talking to David Crosby from The Byrds about his moustache. What did I miss?
Wow.
And Scott's replied, Duke of Edinburgh Awards Society Club 2015 members have been dropping crisps in a field. Now... Come on!
Gosh.
Come on! A little bit of respect
Andrew,
for
what you missed was the most British problem.
Yeah, it was very, very British. Grumpy Jamie's being Kelly, auditioning for Kelly Bettrell. I'll be honest, Jamie, we've only had one phone call. That's from David in Hitchin, who, I'm going to say it, is nuts. So, and a little bit creepy. So... No, because he recited the lyrics of a bird poem, a bird song to a bird. And he got his oats.
And it worked, so what's the problem?
03459 455 555. You've got another 20 minutes if you want to phone up and audition Grumpy. If you want to phone up and be troublesome as well. If you want
see how he deals with you.
See how he deals with that. If you want to be abusive to him. If you want to be sexually domineering to him, that's another thing that you girls have to put up with. And I'm sorry about that. I'm in therapy. I'm working on it. We'll see where we get to. Here's the thing we're going to send Delia out on. What's the youngest Gary you know?
That's a great question.
My Uncle Gary's about, I'm going to say about, he's probably knocking on 50 now, yeah.
What's the youngest Gary you know, Kels?
There was a couple of Garys in my year.
Okay,
at
so
school.
what, they're
like,
18, 19?
Yep.
He's seen her close up, he knows the truth now. Jamie, what's the youngest Gary you know, mate?
Probably about 40.
Yeah, you see, Garys, in my head, are always about 26, but they're actually... That's
because you're about 26.
Yeah, they're 40. There are no Garys left in the country.
What?
Fact.
It's kind of...
What about Lineker?
His real name's Gerald.
He's 50 plus, isn't he?
Gerald. Gerald Lineker. It's true, actually. The baby called Gary to stop Garys from dying out.
Poor Gary's taken one for the team.
We're talking about Lineker again. He took several for the team, didn't he?
Poor baby.
Faced with choosing a name for their baby, this boy's parents could have... By the way, if you're a Gary, can you call in? We want to find the youngest Gary
We
today.
want to check you're okay.
03459 455 555. We're going to look up Garys. Now, faced with choosing a name... I was at a kids' party, 2 kids' parties I did, both nuts, right? And a party with my 3-year-old, the first one. And they were playing the Cold Feet soundtrack, okay? It's just there.
They're with it, those parents,
And I'm looking through it, and as you do, and you don't want to make conversation with anyone. I was looking at it, and it's like, it was Stereophonics, and there was a Pulp song, We Love Life, and then I saw, blimey, coming up in about 5 songs' time, it's Gary Glitter. Oh, yeah. We got out of there sharpish before things descended.
Not your kind of party.
I'd just like to make an announcement.
Yeah.
Grumpy Jamie's screen just went black where nothing's been happening on it for the past. So if somebody can call in.
I'll take my coat now.
Yeah, no one's interested, mate.
There's no Garys out there. 03459 455 555.
Let's see if we can find a Gary or two, shall we? Faced with choosing a name for their baby, this boy's parents could have followed thousands of others in opting for Oliver, Jack, or Charlie. But instead, Scott Batchelor and Katie Hilton went for a rather more unusual name. They went for the name Gary. The couple believed the name, which hit the height of its popularity in the 50s and the 60s. Any pop stars, glitter to one side, any pop stars called actually loads. Gary Puckett.
Barlow.
Sorry?
Gary Barlow.
Gary Barlow. Here we go, this is it. Pop stars called Gary. So we got Puckett. You know what Puckett's hit was, don't you?
No.
Young girl, get out of my mind.
Tune.
That's another one that should go on now. That's what I call dodgy.
We'll do that tomorrow. So we got Puckett. We've got Barlow.
Gary.
Gary Newman. Oh, good.
yeah.
Yes.
Now
good
you're
one.
earning your money.
And
Now you're earning your money.
What's interesting about what Jamie's doing is, I've heard of the acts he's mentioned.
Yeah.
They've all got contracts or had contracts at one point in their career. Any other Garys? Gary.
I mean, there's a Gary Cooper, but he's a...
Well, he's a boxer.
No?
He's a pub.
He's a pub.
Gary.
His real name wasn't Gary, I don't think, either. He assumed that.
Gary.
I liked going into the Gary Coopers when the R had fallen off.
Guys, the Gary Coop. Guys, we're not talking about pubs, mate. We're talking about pop stars called Gary. 03 459 455 555. Gary.
Well, glitter. We're going to have to put him on there, aren't we?
we're not. We just said he's to one side. We don't mention him on the BBC. He doesn't exist.
Gary Coombs. Is he one?
No, Gaz.
He's something.
He's
Gaz.
That was
Gaz.
it,
Is he
wasn't it?
Gary or Gareth?
Gaz.
Is he Gareth or Gary?
Oh, flipping
How sure
it.
are you?
This is a tough one. 03459 455 555. The youngest Gary we can find in any Gary pop stars.
Because this is what happened, right? In the 50s and 60s, it's all about the Gary.
Yeah.
Then our generation became Gareths, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just can't think of any pop stars.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there's been an accident just after junction 19 for Watford, and that's causing an 8-mile queue from junction 22 for St Albans, although all the lanes have now just been reopened. On the M1, it's slow southbound from junction 12 for Flitwick to 11 for Dunstable through the roadworks, and it's also busy on the A1M southbound around junction 7 for Stevenage. Just south of Hitchin in Preston, Charlton Road's been closed because of a fire at Hull's Farm, so that's affecting between Preston Village and Charlton. And on the train departure boards, there are no major delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. So far we're trying to find the youngest Gary. We're also trying to find Gary pop stars, which is a great name for a pop star, Gary pop stars. Would you please welcome to stage Gary pop stars? 03459 455 555. You got 15 minutes to audition Grumpy Jamie as well for Kelly Betts' job. Before that though, let's have some of this. 6:47, these are your headlines. The Prime Minister will announce new measures to stop teenagers being radicalised this morning. One person is still missing after a blaze which destroyed 2 farm cottages near Hitchin. And local residents are complaining about the Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme and its users kicking a cow. Let's get the weather!
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It is a rather cloudy start to the new working week. 1 or 2 spots of rain around as well through the course of the morning, but gradually they will start to disappear, and hopefully this afternoon we should start to see some brightness, particularly up towards parts of Bedfordshire. It'll start further north at first, but hopefully by the time the sun sets we should all see maybe a little bit. Maximum temperature getting up to 14 Celsius. Overnight tonight eventually we'll get some lengthy clear spells. It will be quite cool. The minimum temperature down to 6 Celsius, which we may see maybe 1 or 2 mist patches develop. Nothing serious. But we could see 1 or 2 in the more prone spots. A chilly start tomorrow. It looks a little better. There's more sunshine around, at least in the morning. The wind reasonably light, and actually it's not going to feel too bad, especially it's middle of October now. 15 Celsius in the sunshine isn't bad at all. One more Gary Moore from Thin Lizzy.
Oh, hang on a minute. Thin Lizzy, a band that Catherine hadn't even heard of the other week.
I just couldn't name you a song that they'd sung.
Thank you very much indeed.
Three Counties Sport.
Tomorrow there's a full night of Football League games. You can choose between live commentary on MK Dons.
Into the roof of the net and out of absolutely nothing. The Dons are level, 1-1.
Luton.
And when all else fails, it's Jack Marriott.
Or Stevenage.
It's over the goalkeeper and he's buried it.
Three Counties Sport.
Tomorrow night from 7 here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Who have we got on the line, Jamie?
I can't say.
Sorry?
I can't say. It's a mystery guest.
Oh, OK, let's go to line 2 and our mystery guest. Good morning, mystery guest.
Hello. My name's Gary. My mum told me to phone up. My name's Gary and I'm 10.
Hello, Gary. Well, your mum told you to phone up, did she?
She said there's no many Garys.
No, well, you're a rarity, Gary.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. What's it like being a Gary?
Nice.
Is it? Why is it so nice? Tell us what happens. Do you get picked on at school for having a stupid name?
My name's not stupid.
No, it's Gary, but all right. Do you ever get picked on at school for having a dumb name?
No.
Gary?
No.
No, okay.
I'm quite cool at school.
Yeah. Just remind me how old you are again, Gary.
10.
And what year were you born?
I'm not very good at math.
You were born about 1958, weren't you?
No.
Who is this?
1958? My mum was born in 1958.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Gary there from... Are you sure that was a 10-year-old boy?
Yes.
OK, well, thank you very much indeed. I tell you what, Jamie, say hello to Just.
Morning, mate.
Good morning, Geezer. How are you this morning, Jamie?
Very well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I think you're a bit wasted in the studio there.
I
we'll
think
take-
so as well.
yeah.
I want to make a complaint about that. He's completely wasted.
I reckon we take him out into the streets and we get Gropey Jamie to ask people, who is your favourite Gary?
Listen, I'm not being rude, but I'm going to be a little bit rude. He sucked my buzz right off. The buzz has been not just killed, he's brutally murdered it, and he's jumping up and down on its corpse.
Well, let's get him out on the street stuck in the buzz as well.
I think we get him out back to his home and we pretend this sorry affair never happened. By the way, everyone on Twitter saying Gary Busey and Gary Oldman, they're actors. I've asked specifically for pop star Garys.
Okay, what about this one then?
Yeah,
What
go on.
about this one? Gary US Bonds. Have some of that.
I remember the name. What was his hit?
2:45, an absolute gem of a
we'll have
track. Gary US Bonds.
Yeah, we'll have so
Gary
so far-
Moore?
Yeah, we've got more. We've got
Okay.
more. Gary Moore. No, that's Barrymore, isn't it?
No,
We've
Gary
got-
Moore.
So far, the pop star Garys, Puckett, Barlow, Newman, US Bonds and Moore. It's not a very rock and roll name, is it just?
No, it's not. But then again, to be a Gary, I'm sure, with the story you're talking about this morning, if Garys are dying out, to be a Gary in the year 2015 is a pretty special thing.
We're calling this feature Up the Garys! And today we are celebrating the magic of Gary. So if you want to phone in and go, Up the Garys! 03459 455 555. You taking this to the streets for us, Just?
Should we take it to the streets with Jamie? What do you reckon? Should we get him out the studio after 7? It's entirely up to you. I just think, as he's there...
Yeah, make use of him, But if it's rubbish, dump it.
Okay, we'll do Up the Gary then after 7. Who's your favourite Gary? And then after 8 o'clock, we'll try and find some Garys, and find out what it's like being a Gary.
Brilliant, thank you very much indeed. So we're celebrating the magic of Garys, and already I instantly regret that. 03459 455 555 is the phone number if you want to have a call.
I know this pain. Why do you lock yourself up in these chains? No one can change your life except for you. Don't ever let anyone step all over you. Just open your heart and your mind. Is it really fair to feel this way inside? Oh, someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know, things will change, things are going Someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know things will change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day, yeah. Hold on. Don't you know things will change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day. Hold on. Can you hold on?
Hold on, it's a slow news day. It really is. I mean, it's been a slow news month, hasn't it? I think?
How can you say it's a slow news day? We've had violence against cows.
No.
Well, we've had a cow being kicked.
There we go. Violence against a cow. Alleged violence against a cow. I mean, I'm hoping that Lee has updated his bulletin to include that fact, that exclusive revelation that we broke on this show here. It's an Iain Lee exclusive, guys. 03459 455 555. We're looking for the youngest Gary. We're also trying to compile a list of Gary pop stars. We've been auditioning Grumpy Jamie for the first hour of the show. I've got to say, tepid. Your thoughts, Jamie? Would you like to apologise?
No.
Okay. Would you anything you'd like to say about your performance?
Sterling. Happy.
Oh.
I'm bringing something to the show, I think.
What is that you brought to the show apart from a complete lack of vibe?
I've warmed Cass' chair up, that's it.
What a delicious thought.
We don't want to know. You've got 30 seconds, Catherine. Do you want to fill it with something?
Yeah, there's a man wants to build Planet Pasty in Cornwall.
Hang on a second. What?
Yeah, he wants a museum of the pasty. He wants Planet Hollywood with a Cornish twist.
Flipping beautiful.
Pasties.
I'm up for that. They, a lot of those Cornish pasty shops that opened up around the country, they've all closed down now.
Oh.
Don't know if they've all closed down, but the one
Some have.
Some of them have closed down. Why?
That's news.
Why not? Why? Come on, we got a fella upset that someone's having lunch on his field. You know what I mean? That's our second story.
Well, of course, that brings us to the pasty because that's what they were designed for.
What's the thing called here? The burnt knob.
The clanger.
The clanger, where it's savoury at one end.
Jam on one end.
And that'd be the sweet. So savoury at one,
Yeah.
meat at one end.
So you get your
dessert at the other.
So you get your dinner and then you get your afters.
What's
in
it called?
one.
A burnt knob.
A clanger.
Okay, sounds delicious.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are 8 mile queues on the M25 anti-clockwise from junction 22 for St Albans to 19 for Watford because of a 4-vehicle accident earlier, but it's been moved off the road and all the lanes are open again, but it's still really slow. On the M1 it's slow towards London through junction 9 for Redbourne, and it's also busy on the A1M southbound around junction 7 for the A602 at Stevenage. And just south of Hitchin in Preston, Charlton Road's closed at Hulls Farm in Offaly because of a building fire, so that means that the road between Preston Village and Charlton isn't open. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, Jamie's tenure as Kelly Betts has gone terribly. He's put a call in, and I've got to go to the news. But very quickly, let's go to yes, Bob in Bletchley.
Hello there. Hello.
Hello, Bob. We haven't.
You were saying on Friday people don't listen to your rubbish.
Yes.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
I do.
Oh, but why do you listen to it, Bob?
Because you excite me.
Wowzers. I'm glad we only had 15 seconds for that phone call. It was getting very, very raunchy.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: one person missing after a fire near Hitchin. Concerns about rail safety 15 years after the Hatfield rail crash. And new powers to stop young people becoming radicalised.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
One person is still missing after a fire near Hitchin. The blaze spread through 2 farm cottages between Preston and Charlton yesterday morning. 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. Group Commander Frank Gologly from Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue was at the scene.
Just after 6 o'clock this morning we were called to a serious house fire. Crews arrived quickly and worked extremely hard to bring the situation under control. At the height of the fire we had 8 crews in attendance, and we are now investigating the possibility of a fatality at this incident.
15 years on from the Hatfield rail disaster, the RMT union is raising concern about changes to the way track safety is monitored. 4 passengers died and 70 were injured when a train derailed south of Hatfield due to a faulty bit of track. Ben Nye reports.
The Safe Work Leader system has been trialled on parts of the East Midlands section with a view to being rolled out nationally. However, the union are warning that the new system causes confusion and have asked Network Rail to withdraw it. They say their reps have raised concerns, saying that conditions would actually be safer under the old system.
Parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. It's part of a new counter-terrorism strategy to be announced by the Prime Minister in Bedfordshire today. Tom Simons reports.
After a trial which allowed parents to have the passports of children under 16 cancelled, that power will be extended to 16 and 17-year-olds. Convicted terrorists will be banned from working with children and forced to undergo a de-radicalisation process as part of their release from prison or for suspected terrorists abroad as a condition for returning to the UK.
Prosecutions for using a phone while driving have gone down by almost half in 5 years. That's despite the Department for Transport recording a rise in the number of people spotted phoning or texting at the wheel. Villagers in Buckinghamshire say they've had enough of young people spoiling the countryside while taking part in the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Chartridge Parish Council is accusing them of trespassing, spoiling crops and littering. Farmer Stuart White says that when they're confronted, they get abusive.
The worst problem is in sort of June, July time, the crops are quite tall, so when they walk on these crops, that they don't ever stand back up again, so they're actually destroying the crop as they walk through it.
In sport, Scotland went behind in the last minute to Australia to be knocked out of the Rugby World Cup, and Ireland were comfortably beaten by Argentina. And the weather will be cloudy this morning with the odd spot of rain, turning brighter with some sunshine this afternoon though. Top temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. You get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, guys. Thank you, Lee. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show this morning. The name Gary is dying out. I never finished the Gary story. In 2013, 700,000 babies were born. Catherine, do you know how many of them were called Gary?
3.
It's not as bad as that.
4.
28.
Oh, gosh.
28 Garys. And, well, let's celebrate. Everyone knows a Gary, and Gary is a decent bloke.
I've got an Uncle Gary.
Yeah, he's a decent bloke,
He's
isn't
daft.
he? I bet if your sink got blocked, he could fix it.
No. Ask me Auntie Linda for that.
I see. Okay. Gary's a decent blokes. Like a bit of lager, like football, had an earring when they were younger. Can probably get you a little bit of the old, whatever. They're Garys. That's what Garys do. We all know a Gary. You know Gary. He's not a mate of mine. He's a friend of. He hangs out with Steve a bit. Gary. 03459 455 555. Can we find Britain's youngest Gary? And also Gary pop stars, please. 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
They came for the Garys first, then they came for the Kevs. Stop sending in actors who are Garys. There are loads of actors who are Garys. Of course there are, it's obvious. We're talking pop stars. Gary Kemp, Spandau Ballet. We'll have that, Alan. Beautiful. That's perfect. That's a Gary. Celebrating the magic of Garys today. And obviously we're not going to talk about him.
I'm just looking down our run order today. We're not speaking to one Gary.
And that, to be honest, is what's wrong with this country. It's broken Britain.
Yeah.
You can blame it on immigration. You can blame it on the collapse of the banking markets. You can blame it on people kicking a cow. The thing is, there are not enough Garys anymore, and we need to. Hang on a second, Bob.
Yeah.
You've just called back, Bob. What can I do? You told me that I excited you, and now you've called back.
No, just listen to the news there, sir.
Oh yeah, well you're on the air, Bob. What would you like to say about the news?
Let me just turn the radio down for a bit.
Just for a bit.
Just for a bit.
It won't be long, trust me.
Oh.
You've turned it up there.
Right, the poor farmer.
Yes, the poor farmer. This is the.
He's getting his crops trashed.
He's getting... Some people are walking through his field, sometimes
I know
eating...
who that is.
Sorry?
I know who that is.
Well, hang on a minute. Don't mention any name. You know who... What, the people who are doing it or the farmer?
No, the people doing it.
OK, well, who are they?
Justin Copper. You keep sending him out on the streets. He's got in the fields now.
Justin Dealey's got confused and he's ended up in the fields, isn't he? Justin Dealeycopter. Well, thank you for that, Bob.
Good morning, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Excellent stuff there. That was great. That was Bob in Bletchley there calling in about the Justin Dealeycopter. If anyone has any idea what that was about, then please do not let me know. 15 years on from the Hatfield rail disaster, the RMT union are raising concerns about changes to the way track safety is monitored. They're asking Network Rail to withdraw the Safe Work Leader system after union reps warned that conditions would actually be safer under the old system. In 2004, 4 passengers died and 70 were injured in the disaster when the train came off the tracks at 115 miles per hour due to a faulty bit of track. Well, Mick Lynch is Assistant General Secretary from the RMT union. Morning, Mick. What are you worried about?
Good morning. Well, we're worried about a new system of planning and controlling work on the track, as you've said. But the problem is that Network Rail hasn't got an efficient system. They've gone for a big leap forward with all sorts of apps and IT applications and electronic systems that just isn't working. And now our people feel that they're not as safe as they used to be under the old system. It's causing confusion and chaos out on the track, really. And we're worried.
Where's the chaos?
Well, the chaos is that there's all sorts of electronic permits that are not working properly. One person's opening a permit that belongs to another person. There's all sorts of IT log jams, and we're simply asking the company to take the system offline so that we can correct it and get a system that we can all be confident in.
Is this new system resulting in anybody losing their jobs?
No, it hasn't resulted in anybody losing their jobs. No, the fact is there's not enough people on the jobs to do the work. What we're worried about is a major incident where somebody gets hit by a train. There's a serious incident.
You're not worried, Mick, you're scaremongering, though. It just seems a little bit macabre to me on the anniversary of what was a nasty rail disaster, to kind of, start scaremongering a bit.
No, we're not scaremongering at all. We're putting direct claims to Network Rail about the condition of the working practices on the track, which we are convinced.
Well, you just said that someone might get hit by a train or something. So that's scaremongering a little bit.
No, it's not scaremongering. There have been direct incidents that have been reported to the Office of Road and Rail about incidents that are happening under the track now.
Well, when was the last time someone was injured because of this new system?
Well, they're called close calls, but there are incidents happening in the East Midlands right now caused by this system where equipment is being left on tracks because people believe that the tracks are protected.
Okay, give me an instance where this system has failed and caused damage.
Well, there's incidents up in the East Midlands at certain points of access to the
For example?
Well, there's one at Humberston Road, if you want to know. You're not going to know the area of railway.
No, I know the East Midlands quite well. Tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was that the permit that was generated electronically was not the correct permit. Managers had interfered with the system to make it work. People accessed the track on the high-speed line, thought they were working under protection of the signaller, and it turned out that the IT system had not blocked that road, and all sorts of equipment was out on the track, on the high-speed line, and it was only because of the secondary backup system that there wasn't a major incident in that area.
Oh, no, sorry. I was asking specifically where someone had been injured, not where the system had worked.
What? So we should only wait until somebody's been killed or maimed?
No. But But you've just said the system worked. The secondary backup system worked.
Yeah, and that was the system that's part of the old system.
Right, okay. Has anybody been injured? Sorry, the specific question was, Mick, has anybody been injured because of the changes in the system?
Not at this time, no.
Right.
But
Why are you doing it? Why are you doing this today?
Shall we wait? Shall we wait until the injuries are there?
Why are you doing this today?
Because the whole point of Hatfield and the Potters Bar incidents.
It just seems a little bit cold.
Well, are you going to let me answer the question or not? Are you going to speak over?
I am going to let you answer the question, Mick, but I'm going to let you know. I think it's just a little bit, it just feels.
Think that, but
just doing it on the anniversary, of something like that, it just seems a little bit. Well, it's scaremongering, isn't it?
Well, if you let me speak, it's not scaremongering. What it is reminding people at a pertinent time that if you import confusion and risk onto the railway, It's only a matter of time before there's a major incident.
That's scaremongering. Mick, that is scaremongering, because that's not fact.
No,
it's
it's not.
only a matter of time before there's a major incident. That's scaremongering, mate.
It's a pertinent warning around an anniversary. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, no,
Scaremongering.
doing it on an anniversary just seems a little bit disrespectful to the families that are involved, and that's scaremongering. Saying there's going to be an incident, Mick, is scaremongering. That's the definition of it. You're mongering fear.
If you're just going to shout the same sentence all the time, we're not going to have a conversation, are we?
No, Mick, Mick, if you're
at me.
Well, Mick, if you're
That's not a very sensible interview. You're interviewing yourself, in fact.
No, Mick. I'm interviewing someone who's in denial, who I think is kind of exploiting those families that were killed, and is in denial. One
of those people that were killed was a member of our union.
I know. I've read up on it. But what you're saying is something bad will happen. Well, you don't know that. That's the definition of scaremongering, Mick.
No, it's not. Something bad is happening. Very close call incidents are happening in the East Midlands now, in the only area this is being trialled. And we think that's a matter of concern to Network Rail, to the train companies and to the passengers and the staff that work on the track.
You just said that there will be a major incident.
Well, we believe it's inevitable, yes. And our reps are telling us, and our members are telling us, that the system they're working under now is not as safe as the system that it replaced.
But that is scaremongering.
It's not scaremongering.
Well, it is. It is. Okay, we're not going to get. You obviously don't understand the word scaremongering, so let's not argue about that.
I understand it very well. So is every prediction that something may happen as a result of a system that's in place scaremongering?
It was a system that you believe isn't working, but obviously the people that implemented the system do believe it's working.
Yeah, but they're wrong, and they've admitted to us that they're wrong.
Where have they admitted to you?
They've admitted. The chief head of operations of Network Rail has said the system that they brought in is not the system that was consulted, and it's not working properly.
On the record or off the record?
On the record with the Office of Rail Regulation, that they're considering withdrawing it. We want them to make that decision and stop wasting money and make our staff safer.
Okay.
And that's not scaremongering.
Okay, Mick. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mick Lynch, Assistant Secretary from the RMT Union.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tony's on the line. Morning, Tony.
Morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
I've got a son called Gary, and he's 40, and I was the one that named him as well. And if you want a bad name, I've got a brother called Ted.
Well, now, is he a Ted or is he an Edward?
Well, he's an Edward, but
Teddy. Ted, I like Ted. Ted's a good name. Ted's a name that I think he's kind of on the upswing again, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's old-fashioned, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's good old-fashioned. There are some old-fashioned... I used to know an old boy called Ted, and he used to work for William Hartnell. And anyway, I'm going off on a misty tangent I can barely remember. Ted's a good... So we got a 40-year-old Gary. Did you name him after a famous Gary?
No, I just always liked the name. I always wished I was called Gary. I'm the Tony.
Oh. Why do you like the name? Because there are some people, Tony, who think that Gary's a little bit of a boring name.
I don't know. There's a lot worse names than that around, surely.
There is, actually, and we'll compile a list of those after 8. In the year 2013, out of all the babies born, only 28 of them were called Gary.
Yeah, but, you know... The modern names now, a lot of them are old-fashioned names as well coming back. So Gary will come back. I mean, look at how many Cyrils are out there.
Well, how many Cyrils are out there?
Yeah. Where I work in a HGV depot, Sainsbury's, and there's at least 6 Garys on the HGV side, probably more in the warehouse, and there's about 10 Tonys.
Tony, it's nice to talk to you, mate. Thank you for that.
Sorry.
There we go. Cheers. 6 Garys and 10 Tonys working in a warehouse. Love it.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there are 8-mile queues anti-clockwise from junction 22 for St Albans towards junction 19 for Watford, and that's because of an accident earlier. It's been moved to the hard shoulder now, but it's still really slow through that stretch. And also anti-clockwise on the M25, there's a lane closed between junction 26 for Waltham Abbey and 25 for Enfield by another accident, which is causing a delay back from junction 27 for the M11. On the M1, it's slow southbound between junction 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable through the roadworks. And it's also busy on the A40 Oxford Road, where the roadworks are in West Wickham at the junction for Old Oxford Road. On the trade patch boards, though, there are no reported problems at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 7:16, Monday the 19th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. One person is believed to have died in a fire which has destroyed 2 farm cottages near Hitchin. The RMT union says it's still concerned about rail maintenance 15 years after the Hatfield rail crash. And the Prime Minister will be in Bedfordshire this morning to announce measures to stop teenagers being radicalised.
Every weekday morning.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning. Do you think it's right to tell 1 million disabled people they should get off benefits and find a job?
Have your say on today's big phone-in.
People who are going to be a nuisance are going to be a nuisance regardless of whether there are things to do.
Is it true that people over the age of 65 drink far too much booze?
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
Waited and the receipt came out, but the cash didn't.
It's become a problem of late because obviously the trees got bigger as we've got here.
We couldn't shut the French windows. It would appear that they'd buckled.
I had a phone call from my daughter saying if we don't get off the train, they're going to hand us over to the British Transport Police.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
He's still alive. It's Dennis in Dunstable. Morning, Den.
Good morning, Ian.
You survived the weekend.
Was absolutely superb.
What was this?
I said Saturday night was absolutely superb.
You were so masculine.
No, the point is...
I loved every second of it,
under
and I didn't think I
normal
could.
circumstances, Ian,
Yes.
I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and get up at 6. Now, coming home from your place, I slept 9 hours. Well, I wasn't bored, was
Well, we were... No. You slept 9 hours because we just exhausted each other.
It was great.
It was
I'll tell you
grand.
another thing, too.
You left your belt at mine.
Belt?
Anyway, yes?
It saved me sitting at home and listening to Come Dancing and crying.
Why would you be listening to crying? Is that
well,
your wife?
because my missus and I, that's how we met. 68 years ago.
For those who don't know, Dennis came and saw me do a show. By the way, guys, isn't the Luton Library Theatre amazing?
It's brilliant.
Isn't it? Did you know it was there, Dennis?
No, I didn't. I knew the library was there, and I thought it was just full of books, and that was it.
I know. You go, honestly, guys, and it's a gem hidden away. The Luton Library Theatre is incredible, right? Everyone who works there was spot on. 3rd floor of Luton Library, they've got a proper theatre, and it's not just like a little, performance space. It's a proper theatre with 238 seats. 237 because a lady came in a wheelchair. Deprived me of £14.
That's Bianca.
I don't mind. I'm generous like that. It was 237 people were there. It's an amazing space. Everyone should go and do shows at Luton Library Theatre. But Dennis came and saw it. If you want to see Dennis drawing, not quite his last breath, but let's be honest, there's not many more to go. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. I've put some pictures up of you, of us up there, Dennis. Hope you don't mind.
No, as long as I'm not looking like a startled rabbit.
I'll see if I can get them down. Lots of people saying nice stuff about you on there, Den, so don't worry.
It was absolutely fabulous. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You're very, very kind.
Very much for coming down to give me a hug. And I said to you, if you're going to kiss me, don't use tongs, please.
Well, I struggled. I wish I hadn't got down. I struggled to get back up. That stage was higher than I thought. Dennis, do you know any famous Garys?
Gary Glitter, that's all I know.
There we go, you see. The name that dare not be mentioned, thank you. But pop star Garys we're looking for. So far we've got Puckett. That's what I'm thinking about all of the stories today. Barlow, Newman, US Bonds, Moore and Kemp. Pop star Garys.
I think that might be the lot.
I think that's it. I think we've got a royal flush. 03459 455 555. Popstar Garys. And so far, the youngest Gary we found is a 40-year-old Gary. Can we find any Garys younger? And I bet he's a really decent bloke. But he's a really good bloke. All Garys are good blokes.
His dad sounded all right, didn't he?
All right, here we go.
10 Tonys in a warehouse, though.
10 Tonys in a warehouse. Can we... Are there any, all right, we're looking at the lighter side of Garys. Can we look at the dark side of Garys? Can we find... Again, let's not mention his name. We don't mention his name.
Doesn't get much darker, does it?
Yeah, OK, let's not mention his name. Are there any criminal Garys? Again, not him, right?
Criminal Garys?
Glitter. Can we find any criminal Garys?
I'm sure there are loads. But do you mean well-known criminal Garys?
What, like they're called Mugger Gary? Is that what
Bad
you mean?
Gary.
No, like I don't know what
Bad Gaz.
I don't know what Raffles' real name
I'm
was.
sure it's not Gary.
Okay, well, I mean, is there like like famous criminal mastermind Garys? It wouldn't be. I don't know. I've not seen the new Bond film. Is the bad guy in that called Gary? Is he? Well, Gary, I've come to kill you. I don't know. Any criminal mastermind Garys, please. 03459.
I mean, they very rarely reveal their first names. Maybe Scaramanga was a Gary.
Garymanga.
Gary Scaramanga.
Garymanga. Garymanga. Imagine if you went to school with a kid called Gary Manga in about 1978. How cool would that be?
Gary Blofeld.
Did he? 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. Having a lot of fun with Garys. Now, villagers in Buckinghamshire say they've had enough of young people spoiling the countryside whilst doing their Duke of Edinburgh award. Chartridge Parish Council has branded some of their behaviour a disgrace, accusing the campers of trespassing, spoiling crops, and even in one instance, kicking a cow. They say they're currently writing to the Duke of Edinburgh himself to ask for his support. Well, Peter Brown is chairman of Chartridge Parish Council. What's all this about kicking a cow, Peter?
Well, it's about obeying the countryside code and them being frightened of walking into a field, so they see a herd of cows, and so instead of just being normal people and just carry on walking at a normal pace, they start running, so the cows go, ooh, let's have a little fun and games, so the cows trot along as well, and then they turn around and start kicking out at them to stop them.
Hang on a second, so it was self-defence they kicked a cow, they weren't just going up to a cow kicking... Oh, well, Peter, that's different from what we were told. We were told it was malicious cow kicking.
Oh, it is malicious, I can assure you. The cows are very inquisitive animals.
They do trample people to death in fields, though. That's a fact. That's a fact. People...
Well, they're bulls, they are. They're not cows, milk.
Hang on a minute, Kath's going to get me the stats on how many people were killed last year being trampled to death by a cow. But how do we know it's Duke of Edinburgh people that are causing all this chaos?
Yeah, we do, because they stay at a local campsite, which is brilliantly run, and they do their treks from that campsite.
Surely your beef is with that campsite, then, instead of the...
Well, no, because it's run by the Scouts Association, and they just hire their facilities out to the people concerned. When the Scouts are out walking, don't get any problems or don't appear to.
Well, then they'll be able to tell you who's hiring the facility when, then, won't they?
Well, no, because there's groups from various areas. There's not just one group there. There's probably 5, 6, 7 or 8 schools could be there at one time. And it is well promoted by schools because it's good for their curriculum that we offer the Duke of Edinburgh scheme.
So how old are these people that are causing this mayhem in Chartridge?
They're senior school children, so they're between the ages of 12 and 17.
So they're 12-year-olds?
Well, I wish they were just 12-year-olds. No, they're 12 to 17.
13 and 14. So they're kids, Peter. They're kids.
You're quite right. They're kids, but they're trying to achieve an award issued by the Duke of Edinburgh, which is a brilliant scheme for their bronze awards, silvers and golds. And
so some 13, 14-year-old kids, 13, 14-year-old kids...
15 or 16 as well, yeah.
How old were the kids that kicked a cow in self-defence?
Well, we just believe their ages to be between 13
So they could have been...
16.
Oh, Peter, do you know what... All right, listen, OK, so it's kids, right? It's kids doing this.
Yeah.
And yet, of course, there's the country code, and we should all shut gates, and we should all pick up litter. But do you know what? It's coming across... this story is coming across as a bunch of whinging about some kids trying to better themselves.
Well, it's not just one bunch of kids, it's on a regular occurrence.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's kids, and we should be encouraging kids to go out in the countryside and camp and trek and read maps and stuff, and you lot sound like you've just got it in for them.
No, we've got no dispute whatsoever. We want the kids to come out and enjoy the countryside, to enjoy life and to understand what the countryside is about, because a lot of these children are from London inner schools and that sort of area. But they just don't come out here knowing what to do. They have to go on what they call a hike, which is by map reference, and they're often stopped and lost or not sure where they're going, which all the people are here to help them and saying, yeah, if you go this way, that way and everything. But then they deliberately leave all their rubbish over the fields, all over the place, and it's just that people have just said, we've had enough. They walk through crops instead of walking through footpaths. They've even lumped a huge lump of wood into the middle of a field. Combine harvester comes along, picks up this lump of wood, and damages it. £300 the farmer pays for the repair for this harvester.
So did that harvest festival, that combine harvester got broken, did it?
It got broken. It's £300.
And when these kids are walking through the fields they're not meant to walk through, is that just because they're lost, do you think? They don't quite understand about the public footpaths? Because they're not, the public footpaths aren't always, and the bridleways, they're not always illustrated very clearly. They're kids that have got lost.
they're kids that could be lost, but then
So
when
it's
they're
not-
approached by the farmer and said, "Excuse me, you don't go there," just a mouth to tirade of abuse, constant abuse.
Peter,
And they just get to
Peter,
the point and say, "Ooh,
Peter. No, I'm not
you go
having
up
that.
to a
Right.
group
So
of
this
10
story,
kids-
this story is developing. Right. So the kids may have kicked a cow because out of self-defence. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are walking through fields because they got lost and they don't understand public footpaths.
No, they're not lost. They're just cheating because they can go from one corner of the field to the
No.
other. They don't have to walk around the
Peter,
footpath.
you don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that. And those footpaths aren't well signed.
Footpaths are signed. We have signed
The
them.
start is signed and the end is sometimes signed, but they're kids from London. They're kids from cities. They don't know. And do you know what? I bet one or two of them have given a gobful back. But I'm not happy with the branding that all of them give a tirade of abuse back. I don't believe that, Peter.
The ones that are approached to give a tirade of
I don't believe all of them do. I don't believe all of them do. This is just coming across as being really mean-spirited.
No, well, I think you're good at getting the wrong end of the stick completely then, because we do encourage this to happen, and there's a lot of groups that walk through the scheme. We've got no problems at all. But it's like you always get an isolationist lot, a few of them that just can't give a monkey's ear hole for it, and to actually stand there and be abused by these. Now, do you confront 10 kids being abusive to you, or just turn around and walk the other way and just think, how unpleasant?
So when was the last time you were abused by 10 kids?
Not myself.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter.
Fortunate, but there are
Thank
other
you.
people that have been.
Yeah.
And as I'm chairman of the parish council, and all the residents are up in it, and it's not just happening in my parish, in the parish I'm chairman of. There's other parishes within the Lee. We've had an email come in from Knapp Hill, exactly the same situation there.
Yeah.
And
It just comes across, Peter.
If they read the countryside file, which is their part of their
The
course,
what?
the countryside code. If they just read that and it says what to do and how to behave in the countryside, they pass the course. Brilliant for them. They get an award. They move on with their lives. If they don't obey to that code, why should they be allowed to pass a course which they've
It just sounds really... Peter, it's the flipping Duke of Edinburgh. It don't mean anything in the real world. It's just some kids trying to better themselves and do a little course. Yeah, exactly. What you lot are coming across as really mean-spirited and... some of them are 12-year-old kids, Peter.
And they're not just 12. They're up to 17.
Yeah, no, I didn't say, Peter, they're just 12. I said some of them are 12-year-old kids.
Some of them are 12, yes. But then you get the leaders of it that park their vans in farms and then tell the farmer to go and join the Foreign Office because they're on a Duke of Edinburgh award scheme.
And how many times has that happened, Peter?
It's happened 4 times in the last 3 months.
Look, the driver of the van has told the farmer to F off.
He's told him to join the Foreign Office, yeah.
Okay. I'm a little bit reluctant.
Sorry, this is unacceptable, and the farmers are getting really annoyed. Now, if the farmer has a bit of plastic or lots of plastic left in their fields, and one of their animals, whether it be sheep, goat, or anything, picks it up, because, goats, they'll eat anything, he then gets a vet bill for getting a plastic out of the stomach of it.
How much money has been lost in Chartridge to vet bills because a goat has got plastic in his stomach left by Duke of Edinburgh's?
I'm giving you an example.
So it could be, it could be none. It may not have happened. Listen, litter is a nuisance. I hate litter. But litter happens in the country. Wherever you go in the countryside, unfortunately, you're going to see litter.
Well, if you're on the scheme is quite adamant in its approach, where he says what you take out, you bring back with us, so less the contents. And so, if you've got a sandwich bag or sandwiches or drinks bottles,
yeah, I know about litter. I know all about litter. Yeah, I know about it.
Not just a dump in the countryside, which we go around constantly.
So they're not allowed to dump in the countryside.
No one is. You know that. I know that. And I think it's a brilliant scheme. Both my daughters have been through the DOE scheme. Superb. It helped them with teamwork and concepts. But they obey the rules. And there's basic rules. Like everything you have to do in life, you have to learn. There's a rule to be made, and you have to go with it.
Why are you writing to the Duke of Edinburgh? Because you know you're not going to get a response for him. What's that about? Is that just so that we talk to you? What is that for?
We're writing to the Duke of Edinburgh because we've got a lack of response from the area council of the Duke of Edinburgh scheme.
And you really think you're going to get more from... You think the Duke of Edinburgh is going to go, oh, blimey, this is outrageous. I'm going to go down there and sort this out.
Instigated the scheme, and we're just sick and tired of hitting our head against the wall with someone. There's a simple solution. We can't identify these people, but if they went with the solution we offered 2 years ago, which cost them about...
And so nobody else does this? Nobody else... What was the solution you suggested?
We suggested, so that we didn't have to approach them, they would have colour code tags on them.
Oh, for crying out loud. No. Yeah,
a coloured spot or a ribbon. Then you could say, red team, 12:15, so-and-so.
Colour coding people, that rings a bell. Where have I heard that before, Peter? Colour coding people.
And yellows and blues and purples and
How
pinks.
about a nice gold star on them or something?
Sorry?
It just, do you know what, Peter? This is making me... I don't know why. This is getting something deep inside. This is making me really angry. It's just coming across as...
Well, you You come and live in the countryside, be a farmer, and find out all the damage that happens to you.
No, I'm not going to become a farmer. What a terrible suggestion. It's just coming across as...
You take the rough end of it, and then you'll be saying, this isn't acceptable. And
it just comes...
It's gone on for years.
We
just said, we've had enough now.
It just comes...
Quite right.
It just comes across as mean-spirited, Peter.
Well,
and I don't think you're doing yourselves any favours.
But if you was to live in the countryside and find your land being abused and your footpaths on a constant basis by a regular group of people...
You should come and live with me in the real world, Peter, and find out that there are worse things going on. Do you know what I mean? You don't say come and be a farmer. What a ridiculous suggestion.
Well, there have to be farmers. What did you
There have to be farmers. That's correct.
Do you have chicken, or do you have lamb, or do you have beef or pork? What do you have? They have to supply it.
I have New Zealand lamb.
Well, okay, fine, but you had lamb, so there's a farmer in New Zealand done the same.
Peter, it's degenerated into...
your own question.
Okay, Peter. Well, okay. Well, thanks a lot for your time.
Not a problem. Have a good day.
I'm going to have a great day.
Goodbye.
Bye, Peter. You still there, Peter?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, we're done. This is weird. We're done.
Good. You have a great day, and hope everything works out well for you today. Ta-ra, thank you. Bye-bye.
Is it me? Coming up, we'll have those stats on how many people were killed last year being trampled by cows. It's more than you think.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are 8-mile queues on the M25 anti-clockwise from junction 22 for St Albans to 19 for Watford because of an accident and a short stoppage on that road earlier, so it's still very slow. And anti-clockwise lanes closed between junction 26 for Waltham Abbey and 25 for Enfield, which is causing a delay from the M11. On the M1, it's slow southbound from junction 13 for Bedford to 11 for Dunstable, and also just on the A6 southbound, it's looking very busy on speed sensors between the Old Main Road and the A507. And south of Hitchin on Charlton Road, that's closed between at the Holes Farm junction by Offley, but between Preston Village and Charlton because of a building fire that happened there. On the train departure boards, there's 10 minutes late to the 7:37 service from Luton to Bedford. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. It's part of a new counter-terrorism strategy to be announced by the Prime Minister in Bedfordshire today. One person is still missing after a fire near Hitchin. The blaze spread through 2 farm cottages between Preston and Charlton yesterday morning. 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. Villagers of Chartridge in Buckinghamshire say they've had enough of young people spoiling the countryside while taking part in the Duke of Edinburgh Award. They're being accused of spoiling crops, littering and kicking a cow. The weather will be cloudy this morning with the odd spot of rain, turning brighter with some sunshine this afternoon. Top temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Scotland suffered an agonising last-minute defeat to exit the Rugby World Cup at the hands of Australia. The referee incorrectly awarded the Wallabies a late penalty and sprinted off the field without shaking the players' hands at the end of the match. Captain Greg Laidlaw says they've done themselves proud, though.
We've talked about moving his jersey and the team forward, and I truly believe we've done that. Scottish teams in the past have, without disrespecting them, I think have had loads of guts and loads of glory, and I'm going to try to pull a little bit of that back into the jersey, and, along with some skill set as well, and I think you can see that starting to come.
Ireland are out of the tournament after being thrashed 43-20 by Argentina, who scored 4 tries at the Millennium Stadium. Coach Joe Schmidt says his side paid the price for a poor start, which saw them 17 points down inside the first quarter of an hour.
We just didn't get the start that we needed, particularly with a group that were low on experience, and therefore the confidence got dented a little bit, but I was incredibly proud of the way that they fought their way back into the contest. When you try too hard a little bit at the end, you throw a few things around and you get loose, and with the speed merchants they've got, they finished another couple of tries, which was pretty hard to take in the context of how much effort had been put in.
On to football, and Jorginho Wijnaldum was the hero as Newcastle earned their first win of the Premier League season, beating Norwich 6-2 at St James's Park.
Out to Wijnaldum for Newcastle, weaves in field and smashes in a goal! Oh, he's got 4!
Watford were beaten 3-0 at Vicarage Road by Arsenal, with the MK Dons won 3-0 against Blackburn in League One. It was a 2-1 defeat for Luton against Crawley in League Two, despite taking the lead, and Stevenage beat Wickham 2-1. Finally, in cycling, Welling's Laura Trott won the Omnium on the final day of the European Track Cycling Championships. BBC Three Counties News and Sport, more at 8 o'clock.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we've paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow, I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just...
So here's the thing that's on everybody's lips. What would the Beatles sound like if instead of having human beings in them, they actually had cats and dogs? You've been thinking that, haven't you guys?
I never stopped thinking that.
They'd sound like this.
Oh.
That's what they sound like, guys. That's exactly what they'd sound like.
That's why I never took off.
That's why they reverted to their human form.
I'd like to congratulate the person who did that.
It wasn't the person, mate. I don't understand what
Oh,
you're...
sorry. No, but somebody must
You
have
mean a
hit
lonely
record.
boy with a keyboard in his bedroom?
It was... hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Good one!
Okay.
Say that again, what you said.
I'd like to congratulate the person who made that.
Oh, do you mean their producer, George Barton?
Oh.
Players in the house!
Did they send it to you via email?
Huh?
Chicken's taken over.
Yeah. I've got a whole album of this.
Why?
I wonder if it's there. Hang on a second. Oh, no. Oh, hang on. Oh, what are we doing here? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, good blimey. And computer's gone mash up. Hang on. Computer's gone mash up.
Is that a sheep?
Hang on. Computer's gone mash up. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, guys. Computer's gone mash up. I just need to go through this whole album to get this out of here. No, hang on a minute. Here we go. Hang on. There we go. Hang on. Oh, hang on. I can work with this. Right, let's go to Bad Gary's. It's Andy. Morning, Andy.
Morning.
We're talking Bad Gary's.
Yeah.
I made myself giggle like a schoolgirl, a giggly schoolgirl. What, Andy? What Bad Garys have you seen?
I've only ever come across one, really, and he's the biggest serial killer in US history.
Oh.
There you go.
That's why you're laughing, didn't it?
What was his name? Gary?
Yeah, Gary, obviously. Gary Ridgway.
Gary Ridgway? I think didn't he used to own a Ford Escort? And he souped it up, didn't he? He souped it up and he had 2 exhaust pipes, even though he only had 1 exhaust.
Well,
Gary...
I don't know if that's how they caught him, but yeah.
How did... what did Gary Ridgway do? Oh, Kath's pulled the face. Maybe we don't want to know.
He killed at least 49 women.
Okay, well, it's probably best not to be having a fair
The Green
version.
River Killer.
Wowzers. Okay, well that's.
Don't mess with that, Gary.
That's. But well, thank you for that. That's certainly put a donor. Hang on a second. Hang on.
Careful.
That's put a downer on the proceedings. Thank you, Andy.
We wanted bad Garys. You don't get much badder.
You don't get much badder than that. 03459 455 555.
Gosh, he convicted of 49, confessed to 71, presumed to be at least 90.
Let's, I'll tell you what we can do, Catherine, is why don't you tell us how many people were killed last year, stampled by
cows.
Stampled to death by cows.
Right, OK, well, according to The Telegraph, the numbers are sketchy, but it tends to be at least 1 a year. In 2009, particularly bad year, 4 people trampled to death by cows in just over 8 weeks over the summer. Spate of incidents regarded as highly unusual. In the past 8 years, there have only been 18 deaths in total caused by cattle of all kinds, including incidents involving bulls, which have always been known to present risks. We know about that.
So these were kids that kicked a cow in self-defence?
Well, yeah. There's another thing here from ABC.
Yeah.
You know the Americans, they always have to go a little bit further, don't they? Right, so ABC reckon that cows may look docile, but they kill more than 5 times the number of people that sharks do.
Flipping heck, there we go. Look at Kelly's face. Genuine fear. Oh no, she's doing a duck face.
Here we go. Using stats from the US Centre for Disease Control and Prevention, one research study reported an average of 22 deaths a year by bovines, typically due to stomping or goring.
Flipping
Ouch.
heck.
The study noted that horses are also pretty lethal, causing up to 20 deaths per year. This is in America. Agricultural workers are among the groups at greatest risk of death by mammal, a category that also lists cats, pigs and raccoons as the cause of death.
Here's the thing, right? Do you know what one of the biggest killers in the US is?
Snake.
This song.
No. Oh. All right, hang on a minute. Let's just imagine if the Beatles.
Burgers.
The Beatles consisted of dogs and cats. What would they sound like?
Something.
Oh, hang on. That sounds like Terry Wogan.
So what else is killing people in America? Burgers.
No. One of the biggest killers in America. Fact. Drinks dispensers.
Because they kick them.
They kick it. No, you tilt them to try and loosen your I don't know what they call them over there. Candy.
A beverage.
Your beverage, your fizzy pop. And it falls and it crushes them. I say one of the biggest killers. It kills about 26 people a year. A year from drinks machines. Can you believe that, Peter?
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Vietnam! What would you like to have a whinge about today, Pete?
No, first of all, on the funny side,
the lighter side.
It's more difficult to find a Gary with charisma.
You're saying that no Gary has charisma?
Well, I don't know of any.
Okay, well, let's if we can find a charismatic Gary. Yes.
On the serious side,
then I will fade down the barking Beatles.
These inner city kids.
Yeah.
They are alienated. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them are alienated from society because they look at society, they see how different people live, and then they look at their own surroundings.
Yeah.
And they're living in circumstances where some of them can't even go out safely.
Yeah.
And if you keep children keep having that happen, they get alienated from society, and that's true. I grew up in a background like that.
Yeah.
Not with gangs with knives and everything, but with fighting with stones and bricks and God knows what else in East London.
So why are you saying? That story. I mean, that ended very weirdly with the gentleman. That story about that village made me angry, and I don't quite know why it made me angry, but it touched something in me.
Yeah. Well, I can understand the villagers.
Oh, of course. Listen, if there's litter, then that's out of order, right? And if they're causing damage to equipment, that's out of order. Of course it is. But then they live in the countryside. You go anywhere in the countryside, unfortunately, there's litter.
Yeah, but society itself, I think society itself has created the problem.
Yeah.
Because they are not living in. They're living in, if you like, behind steel doors, sometimes bars, within their own community.
Yeah, well, Peter, just think twice. It's another day for you and me in paradise, isn't it?
Absolutely. For them, it's absolutely. I mean, the only time I ever went out in the countryside was to pick hops.
To pick hops?
Yeah, to pick hops.
Oh, pick.
And a one-day treat to Southend.
Yeah. Oh.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I mean, in the countryside, for these kids,
Yeah.
it's a totally alien.
Isn't it just? And we should be encouraging them. Of course, we should encourage them to pick up the rubbish and stuff like that. But you want to brand the kids, really?
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are queues on the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 27 for the M11 and 25 for Enfield after an accident earlier at the end of the Homestead Tunnel. Also on the M25 anti-clockwise, there are 8 mile queues from junction 22 for St Albans to 19 for Watford.
8 Mark Hughes? Who's Mark Hughes?
8 mile queues.
8 Mile queue. I thought you meant the Man United footballer. I do apologise. And thank you to Catherine for that football reference whispered in my ear just in the nick of time.
Okay. On the A40, there are delays from the M40 at the Denham roundabout all the way to the A406 at the Hanger Lane Gyratory through Uxbridge and Northolt after an accident happened at the Greenford flyover earlier. And on the A41, it's slow southbound from the Hemel Hempstead turn off towards the M25. It's also busy in Dunstable on the A5 southbound approaching Church Street. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. 8 Mark Hughes, eh? Right, 7:47. It's Monday, the 19th of October. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. One person is believed to have died in a fire which has destroyed 2 farm cottages near Hitchin. The RMT union says it's still concerned about rail maintenance 15 years after the Hatfield rail crash. And children tried to escape from stampeding cows recently in a village in Beds, Hards and Bucks and had to use self-defence to protect themselves. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A rather grey and gloomy start to the new working week. We've got 1 or 2 spots of rain around, possibly through parts of Bedfordshire and Buckinghamshire at the moment, but they are disappearing. They're not going to last all morning, and they are fairly light as well. And it will clear up as we head into the afternoon, and hopefully we should see some sunshine as well. The cloud will thin and break eventually. We should get some spells of sunshine before it sets, particularly further north you are. Maximum temperature 14 Celsius. Overnight tonight, eventually we'll see some lengthy clear spells, so it's going to be quite cool. Minimum down to 6 Celsius. We could see a bit of mist develop as well. Not widespread, just 1 or 2 mist patches by dawn tomorrow. Chilly start for Tuesday, but those clear spells tonight means it is going to be a brighter or sunnier start to tomorrow morning. The wind's still light, more sunshine, and temperatures actually feeling pleasant. 15 Celsius, which isn't bad for the middle of October. And that's your forecast.
Thank you very much.
If you've missed any of the programmes here on BBC Three Counties Radio, you've missed things like this.
And a very good Sunday morning to you. This is Mike Naylor, and we'll be exploring in this hour why the cow is a sacred animal for Hindus.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
So many goodies. It should be illegal to have this much fun on a Sunday morning.
There's minced beef, bit of nutmeg, what else?
Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
Selective mutism, what exactly is it?
It's something that occurs in young children, usually of school age, in response to anxiety, more often than not.
Allowing you to listen to what you missed.
Welcome along. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. My name is Yasmin Khan.
This track takes me back to the mid to late 90s.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
First, and then he'll be right with you, okay?
Sorry?
Thanks.
What? Oh, you're talking on the phone. Okay.
Yeah, I'm off now. Fine.
I've just rediscovered my Exotic Beatles volumes 1, 2 and indeed 3.
Good news for everyone.
It means there's a whole load of this. Oh, hang on a minute. I've got to be careful because some of it's got swearing on. Hang on.
Oh dear.
Hang on, here we go. There we go. And listen to this. Listen to this beautiful interpretation of Eleanor Rigby.
Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding have been.
Oh.
He sounds like a pervert, doesn't he?
Lived in a dream.
Oh, there he does, yeah.
Wait at the window, wearing the faith that you keep.
It's like, imagine playing that to a child just before they go to sleep. It would give them nightmares, wouldn't it? It would give them absolute nightmares.
I mean, it's quite a dark song anyway, but... Is it him again? Oh, I like this.
Oh, it's nice.
Ole.
But what Beatles song is it? Is it a song? Now, I know what the song is because I can read it, but I can't hear it. Hang on. Any guesses yet? Jamie, any guesses as to what Beatles song this is?
Not a Beatles fan.
What? Kath can understand the language. What's he singing?
He's not singing any Beatles lyric that I'm aware of.
It's supposed to be From Me to You, but I'm struggling to...
He's saying sort of he wishes for her and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, OK, well, maybe we'll...
Where's he going to start the actual lyric?
I don't know. Now, Grumpy Jamie's with us this morning. You've been auditioning for Kelly's job. How do you think it's gone?
I think I'm sacked already.
He's very astute.
Yep.
You've taken the Vox to the streets. You've been out on the streets with Dealey. We're trying to find Gary's. What was the question that you asked the boys and girls?
Are you taking up the Gary?
No.
OK, no. Is that the question that was asked?
Similar to that,
Then
yeah.
we cannot play that Vox out, I'm afraid.
Sorry.
Catherine, you're going to have to vet the Vox before...
Have you listened to it, Kelly?
No, why would I?
OK, then you're going to have
Was
to
that the
listen-
actual question?
No, Gary's.
Yes.
Famous Gary's.
Yep.
Famous pop stars.
Yep.
With Gary as their name.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out. Thank you very much indeed. There we go.
Take it to the streets. Hashtag up the Gary.
Good morning, Princess.
There we go. OK, there we go. I'll step in there, guys. I'll step in. Don't worry. 03459 455 555. You can rest assured, Jamie, you're fired. Thank you very much indeed. It's been a great pleasure. Tomorrow we've got Ribena Rosie coming in. Let's see how that goes.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, the head teacher of a special educational needs school in Amersham has spoken out against government changes to exams which will affect his students. Neil Strain from Stony Dean School has warned that moving focus away from functional skills qualifications, which a third of the school use, will leave some leaving school without any meaningful exam results. He joins me now. Morning, Neil.
Good morning.
Functional skills qualifications, what is that and why do your students need them?
So obviously we are a special needs school and our students at Stony Dean School need a very specialised provision in order to give them access to qualifications and opportunities further down the line. Functional skills English is an example of exam boards currently cutting qualifications which are very relevant to our students.
And why are they being phased out?
We generally feel that it comes from central government policy and a focus on GCSEs, which are entirely exam-based. Now, you know, Albert Einstein said if everyone's a genius and you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its life believing it's stupid. And this is a great example of that exams are not the only way to assess a student's ability.
What's the problem with mainstreaming someone with special educational needs? Because some parents might prefer that, mightn't they?
They might do, yes, but their ability to be successful in those types of exams are proven that they will not often. So therefore, it's good to have a blended approach to assessment in exams.
OK. What options have you got for the students now?
At the moment, we do have functional skills English and we do have other entry-level qualifications, but lots of these are being phased out as part of the governmental reform.
OK. All right, Neil, thank you very much for your time. That's Neil Strain from Stony Dean School, 03459 455 555.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
We may have, I feel I ought to say, we may have sailed a little bit, not close to the mark, but way, way over the mark. If anybody was offended by anything, then of course I apologise and wrists will be soundly slapped and heads will be shaved in punishment. Catherine, we've got any texts?
Yeah, we have.
What have you got?
About the Duke of Edinburgh thing. This
Yes.
is from Rebecca in Bedford. D.A.V. camping weekends have always had teenagers getting overexcited. For some, it may have been the first time they're released into the wild.
Yep.
My memories, for example, she says, are a bit sketchy. Oh, I remember Rebecca. I think I got a bit tipsy at camp and kissed a lad from Manchester. Yes, you did. And on the flip side, our group sang classical music whilst walking to keep our spirits up. No, we didn't. It was for non-blondes. We've got this one through. Yes,
They are classic,
She was in my group and we got all the way through to gold.
What, by
Thankfully,
Spandau Ballet? That's how long you were traipsing around for.
Richard in Hotcliffe. Iain, you're wrong on this one. Kids need to learn the rules. Dumping rubbish, parking where they're not supposed to, shouting abuse at farmers is not conducive to the Duke of Edinburgh's award.
I don't buy the shouting abuse at farmers. It may have happened. I don't think there have been torrents of abuse. I'm going to suggest that I make up there's a little bit of exaggeration going on there to add some colour to an otherwise black and white, slightly grey story.
It says they should be learning the rules, picking up rubbish and being polite and courteous. Yeah,
of course they should.
I think that you don't notice the kids that do that. That's the problem, isn't it? Kids are being allowed to get away with this sort of thing is what is generating the job culture in this country.
What does that
you
mean?
Job culture.
Oh. Yeah, that shouldn't happen, but I don't believe it's happening. Well, we need every side of the story, don't we? We were told that the kids have been kicking a cow. No, we hadn't. We've been told that young people, they could have been as young as 12, we found out later, have been kicking a cow. Turns out kicking a cow out of self-defence.
Well, the first story we were told was that the cow was lying down in the field and was being kicked, and then we heard that they were running and the cow started to run after them and they started kicking.
Anne in St Albans isn't happy with those
but
kids.
Are we surprised? Cows. Only an idiot would run in a field of cows.
Or children from London that don't know, that think that cows, we're brought up to think that cows are docile and fun and stupid. They're not. They've got they can kill.
Mm-hmm. They're big.
So they're not idiots, Anne.
She says that those who do will risk death by ignorance.
Well, no,
death
by... So you'd be quite happy for a 12-year-old kiddie to be trampled by a cow, would you, Anne?
All children should be taught that if they're in the country, says Anne of St Albans.
Flippin' heck. The thing is, right, we know this because we're of an age, right? You get a kid from Hackney or Islington... in London, goes to the countryside. Never seen a flipping cow in real life. They've only seen it on the telly. Imagine having never seen a cow, and you look at a cow. Oh, it's a cow. Flipping hell, that's nice. You don't understand that they're really flipping dangerous.
Yeah.
They're cows.
Yeah.
Oh, Anne, have a heart. This is the thing about this story, right? There seems to be no heart in it. There's no heart in it. And they're tarring all these kids with the same brush, and they just want to ruin their dreams, for goodness sakes. Yeah, okay, if they're leaving litter, that's bad. If they're shouting, effing and jeffing at farmers, that's terrible. I don't believe it's happening as much as they say it is happening.
I hate to tell you this, guys, as well. These are the ones who are trying to get on the right path. The other kids aren't joining in with the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme.
Yeah,
they're down the park drinking
honest,
Thunderbird.
The kids that do in Duke of Edinburgh, they're brown nosers generally. They are. I did it. I realised it was really boring, and you just get stroppy farmers having a go at you just because you dropped a packet of crisps in their field. Which, of course, I don't condone. I'm joking, for crying out loud. Ah, dearie me. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you can text 81333. Start your text 3CR. Of course, if you wanted to, and why would you not? You can send me an email. Iain.lee@bbc.co.uk. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, it's very slow anti-clockwise from junction 24 for Potters Bar to 16 for the M40, and it's made worse by the rush hour delays and an accident earlier. Anti-clockwise, though, it's easing off between junction 27 for the M11 and 25 for Enfield after an accident in the Holmesdale Tunnel. The A40 into London's very busy, though, from the Denham roundabout towards the Hanger Lane Gyratory after an accident at the Greenford flyover earlier. It's causing queues through Uxbridge and Northolt. And on the M1, it's very slow southbound between junction 13 for Bedford and 11 for Luton through the roadworks. On the train departure boards, though, there's no reported delays at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Now is an excellent time. I've not mentioned this for ages on the show. We have a weekly podcast. Who'd have thunk it? If you go to iTunes and type in Iain Lee, IAINLEE, it will pop up and you can download it. And it's kind of like an hour-long best of the week. Oh, and also... me and Catherine do a show at weekends. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole. You won't find that on the BBC iPlayer. You have to go to the iPlayer for that, OK? If you go to the iPlayer and type in Iain Lee, Catherine Boyle, and then it comes up. And we did 2 hours at the weekend. I'll be honest, I haven't got a clue what it was about or what happened. It was a phone-in show with no topics. Make of it what you will. Here's the news with Lee.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock, I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: one person missing after a fire near Hitchin, concerns about rail safety 15 years after the Hatfield rail crash, and a heavily pregnant woman from Wickham has gone missing.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
One person is still missing following a fire near Hitchin. The blaze destroyed 2 homes between Preston and Charlton. Barry Caffrey reports.
The fire took hold in the cottages at Offley Holes at around 6 o'clock yesterday morning. 8 fire crews were called to the scene and 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. But 1 person is still missing and it's believed they may have died. An investigation into the cause of the fire is being carried out.
Parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. It's part of a new counter-terrorism strategy to be announced by the Prime Minister in Bedfordshire this morning. The RMT union is raising concern about changes to the way track safety is monitored 15 years on from the Hatfield rail disaster. 4 passengers died and 70 were injured when a train derailed south of Hatfield. Assistant General Secretary Mick Lynch says the system is too complicated.
Well, the chaos is that there's all sorts of electronic permits that are not working properly. One person's opening a permit that belongs to another person. There's all sorts of IT log jams, and we're simply asking the company to take the system offline so that we can correct it and get a system that we can all be confident in.
A woman who's about to give birth has gone missing from High Wycombe. 25-year-old Ella Pecco is 35 weeks pregnant and was last seen in the town centre on Friday. Prosecutions for using a phone while driving have gone down by almost half in 5 years. That's despite the Department for Transport recording a rise in the number of people spotted phoning or texting at the wheel. Just over 17,000 drivers were taken to court last year. Pete Williams from the RAC says it's a real concern for other road users.
I think responsible drivers find it incredibly frustrating that they, day in, day out, they see other motorists actually using their mobile phone while driving. And that's not just talking, but actually texting and actually browsing the internet.
Villagers in Buckinghamshire say they've had enough of young people spoiling the countryside while taking part in the Duke of Edinburgh Award. They're being accused of spoiling crops, littering and kicking a cow. Peter Brown is the chairman of Chartridge Parish Council.
We want the kids to come out and enjoy the countryside, to enjoy life and to understand what the countryside is about, because a lot of these children are from London inner schools and that sort of area. But they just don't come out here knowing what to do. They deliberately leave all their rubbish over the fields, all over the place. And it's just that people have just said, we've had enough.
In sport, Scotland went behind in the last minute to Australia to be knocked out of the Rugby World Cup, and Ireland were comfortably beaten by Argentina. The weather will be cloudy this morning with the odd spot of rain, turning brighter with some sunshine this afternoon. Top temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. You can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you, Lee. Morning. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. So, we found 6 Gary pop stars. I think that's it. Puckett, Barlow, Newman, US Bonds, Moore and Kemp. The youngest Gary we found so far is 40. That's it. Anybody under the age of 40 called Gary? Oh 03 459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
15 years after the Hatfield rail disaster, the RMT is concerned that recent changes could put track safety at risk. The union believes the way rail standards are now monitored isn't as safe as the previous system, and it's only a matter of time before something disastrous happens. Well, in 2000, 4 passengers died and 70 were injured in the disaster when a train came off the tracks at 115 miles per hour due to a faulty bit of track. Bruce Williamson is from the campaign group Rail Future. Bruce, why do you think the RMT union are so concerned?
I don't know, actually. You'll have to ask them.
Well, I did, and I didn't quite get it.
Okay, there's something called a safe work leader, which is taking over the role of looking after works on the track. And as far as I know, it seems like a sensible idea, but I can't get my head around what their objection is.
Well, I'm trying to get my head around it. I did speak to someone from the RMT, and I couldn't quite. They seemed to. He suggested or said that there had been several near misses because of this new system, and the only thing that stopped people being injured or killed was the secondary backup system. Does that make sense to you? Have I said, a language you understand?
To some extent, there's I can't remember what they call it. Is another acronym, COS, which is another sort of a safety worker on the line who's supervising safety, and that's still in place. That's an old system, and this is all being trialled in the East Midlands. So it's a pilot scheme. So hopefully, the whole point of a pilot scheme is you try something out, you learn the lessons, and then you improve it.
Yeah. I don't know how much you know about this new system. In your opinion, is it safe?
Well, I mean, the railways certainly are safe at the moment. It's been 15 years, isn't it? And we have one of the safest railways in Europe, if not the safest. And rail travel is safer than it has ever been. It's now, I think, 8 years since the last passenger died on a train, which is, better than it's ever been on Britain's railways. So I think, the lessons of Hatfield have been learned, I think. And, I'm very happy to travel on a train and feel very safe doing so.
Is there any more? There must always be room for improvement, though, when it comes to safety.
Oh, inevitably, yeah. I mean, there's always mechanical error and human error, mechanical failure and human error. And it's what's important, really, is that we learn the lessons when things do go wrong. We sadly, when it came to Hatfield, we had to relearn the lessons because corners were cut because profits were put ahead of safety, and we learnt that lesson the hard way. And I think things have improved. Clearly, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And we have a safe railway, and as long as we continue to sort of learn from those near misses, and as long as we don't have to relearn those lessons, I think everything will be fine.
I like travelling by train. I don't do it very often because it's enough expensive, isn't it?
Well, it can be. It's one of the things we campaign for is, cheaper fares on the railway. But if you're prepared to book in advance, you can get some outrageous bargains. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, personally, you won't be surprised to learn that I enjoy travelling by train as well. Yeah. And, I'm not a commuter. I'm more of an occasional traveller. And it's great, yeah. And it's safe and it's environmentally friendly. So what's not to like? But, book in advance because, sadly, if you want to just turn up and go, we do have some of the most expensive fares in Europe.
Which is a shame. Bruce, listen, I appreciate your thoughts this morning. Thank you. Bruce Williamson from the campaign group Rail Future.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nigel's in Aylesbury. Morning, Nige.
Hello, Ian. Hiya. Hello.
You all right, fella? What you got for us?
It was just regarding this Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme. I did the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme many years ago as part of my scheme at school.
Yes.
And it was really good for me. And I think you were quite right in saying about it. There's another opportunity to beat down children, beat down the young teenagers at any opportunity. I think it's really good. The only issue I would like to point out, though, is that you don't get a lot of training with it. You get I had about 2 days worth of training before you go out. Well, when I say training, you got talked to and told about what was going on. So there was a lot of people who will be going out there who don't know about the countryside, and perhaps the country people need to be a little bit more open and go. Instead of going, "Oi, get off my,"
If we take the story at face value, right?
Yes.
And a farmer. And I'm not totally buying this, but let's assume this is what happened. A farmer goes, "I'm sorry, boys, girls, sorry, you've left a bit of litter there. Could you go and pick it up?" Right? Let's imagine that happened, and then those kids turn around and go, "Why don't you naff off, you WSB?" All of those words at that. That would be quite grating, wouldn't it, on a country folk?
But it's country folk and people. I mean, it's grating on anybody, isn't it? Who gets a bit of verbal. But I mean, but then what went on afterwards? Did the farmer just go, "Look, hang on a second, have a chat about it," or did they get a huff and did he get stroppy with them as well? And that's the thing. And I think you were quite right. And it was nice for you to actually turn around and say that to the.
I just think we should. I just think, Nigel, we should. These are the. We should be encouraging these. They're 12 between 12 and 17. All right, so 12, 13, 14. They're kids, right? We should be. We're all worried about fat kids and kids staying at home playing Xbox all the time, and these are kids that are actually going to go out camping overnight. That are going to go. They're showing an interest, and that is the perfect place to say. By the way, you're not supposed to leave litter, and you should shut that gate and don't kick a cat. Don't go in a field full of cows, you plum.
We had. Yeah, I mean, sorry, I was going to say we were probably about 20 of us when we went out and did it, and I mean we were all asked to do that, but that was the whole experience. You got lost, you did walk around in a circle and then end up at the back of the way. You did the whole thing, but afterwards you came away with a little bit more experience, a little bit of understanding, and actually the achievement of turning around and saying you did the 6 mile, 7 mile walk.
And if you were lucky, Nigel, although not in my case, I'm guessing that on your case, you'd have got some snogs in as well.
No, unfortunately, I was with an all bloke.
We had girls in mine, but they weren't. They were interested.
No, unfortunately,
in
we
Robert,
were split off. We weren't allowed. That wasn't allowed.
No, that was off limits. Nigel, listen, thank you very much indeed. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call.
I never got any snogs in either. Becky did.
I had profound thought then about the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme.
What, that it's like life?
I just think we should be encouraging these kids, and you do wonder: did a farmer go up to them and say, "I'm really sorry, guys"? Or say, "Oi, you lot!" If someone said this, I remember what it was. I remember what I was going to say. Public footpaths are really badly signed because you get, if you're on a road, like a road, and then there's there was a sign saying public footpath, and it points that way, but then it's not, marked out particularly clear.
Let's face it, most farmers would prefer you couldn't find the public footpath.
They
don't want you on there.
They don't want you to. And you can see how you'd end up going from a public footpath, walking through a field because you want to get over there.
Also, do you remember how flipping tiring it was doing those treks? Absolutely shattering. You've never experienced anything like it in your life.
I just think that whole story... A, I don't know why we're doing it because it's not really a story. And B, it's just.
I think it was to highlight this.
It's just really mean-spirited, I think. They're leaving, and I'm not in any way condoning leaving litter or abuse of either humans or bovines
at all. I don't think every single group is doing this, but unfortunately now it's become a thing, so that when they see it, it feels like a personal attack.
I just think it's just left a bitter taste in my mouth. 03459 455 555. Gary's on the line. Morning. It's Tony. It's Tony. I got excited for a moment.
Good morning.
Morning, Tone.
Bad Gary's.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Go on, boss.
And you should remember it because you're young enough to be a sort of geeky guy in the punk era, aren't you?
Oh, well, yeah. Go on, then.
Gary Gilmore's Eyes.
What the hell is that?
Gary Gilmore's Eyes by the adverts.
I don't know that one.
Well, Gary Gilmore was a notorious killer in America.
Flip. Oh, it's the Gary Gilmore.
Looking through Gary Gilmore's eyes. That's the song.
All roads lead to Gary Gilmore again, the notorious murderer who may have murdered as many as 76 people.
That's it. The good thing he did do.
Sorry?
First of all, he chose to be put to death by a firing squad, which they granted him.
Wowzers.
But he
that was the good thing he did, was it?
No. Yes. He donated his corneas for transplants. And that's what the song was about.
Oh, right.
Flippin' heck.
Aye.
That has made me feel very, very uncomfortable. Why would they grant that request?
Well, because it gave somebody sight, didn't it? To give two people.
Well, you know what happens, right? If a friend of mine had a friend of a friend had a hand transplant, right? They had their right hand put on.
Yeah.
And he went round trying to murder people, and it turned out that hand belonged to a strangler, a man who'd strangled his wife.
Talking about hands, what about from the film, the one with Peter Sellers who plays that little Nazi...
that... He's trying to do the salute and he's... Dr. Strangelove, isn't it?
Strangle him.
Yeah.
That's it. But yes, Gary Gilmore's Eyes...
Thank you very much indeed.
1977.
Tony, thank you very much indeed. I would have been 4 then. So
I think I'd rather hang on for the next lot of corners, wouldn't you?
We've got some good news and bad news. I'll have the good news first. Where are you? I'm over here, touching your knee. Oh, thank you. We've got some eyes for you. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, have you heard of a guy called Gary Gilmore? What, the murderer? Yeah, they're his eyes.
I'll wait for the next pair.
Yeah, I think that's how that conversation would go. 03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there are delays anti-clockwise between junction 24 for Potters Bar and 16 for the M40 after an accident just after Watford earlier on this morning, adding to the normal rush hour queues. On the A10, it's slow southbound just after Carthatch Lane where the roadworks are, causing delays back from Bullsmore Lane. And on the A41, that's very slow from the Hemel Hempstead turn-off towards the M25 at junction 20 for Kings Langley. On the M1, it's busy southbound through the roadworks from junction 13 for Bedford towards junction 11 for Dunstable. And in Yardley Gobian on Northampton Road, there's reports of an accident in both directions, affecting both directions because it's partially blocked at Yardley Road and causing delays from the lane. Samantha the Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you. You're right. Whoever's just texted in, we're onto something here. Gary Gilmore isn't the guy that killed 75 people. That's Gary Ridgway. I'm sure my sister used to go out with a Gary Ridgway. Gary Gilmore's another murderer. So what I'm drawing from this, and this is just early days of this hypothesis, you're more likely to be a murderer if you're called Gary. Early days, needs a bit of work, but I could be onto something here. 8:16. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An investigation is underway into the cause of a fire near Hitchin, which is believed to have killed one person. The Prime Minister will be in Bedfordshire this morning to announce measures to stop teenagers being radicalised. Oh, may God bless Lee Agnew. Youngsters doing their Duke of Edinburgh award are being accused of spoiling crops, littering and kicking a cow near the Buckinghamshire village of Chartridge. Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Thank you so much.
BBC Three Counties Radio. We're looking for your stories of finding love later in life.
I've been married a long time and I'm a real sweetheart like that.
From moving on to starting again. Is love better second time around? And how do you meet a new partner in 2015?
I never ever thought we'd meet anybody again, but you turned up on the doorstep.
An adult conversation about getting together. Tell us your story. 03459 455 555.
It was just fate that brought us together.
Love later in life. All this week on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Kinky. Very, very kinky. So there's these coffins you can get, right? I'd be up for this if I was an idiot. Where is it? Oh, it's got. Here we go. Here we go. Have listened to. Have some of this. Right? Have some of this. Coffins with a screen on the lid. This is dangerous technology, right? Anyone who's ever presented something where there's a live Twitter stream will know this is very, very dangerous technology because it will start off nice and end up you being called a twit. I haven't done it, but I've seen people who've done that. They've hosted something and there's live Twitter going underneath and it's not checked. Coffins with a screen on the lid to show live Facebook and Twitter tributes.
No.
Have been designed by funeral directors in Gloucester.
Stop it.
Come on. You can't do that.
There's a time and a place to disconnect from the net, and that is it, isn't it?
The grave is one of those places to go, do you know what? I don't need no Wi-Fi.
I mean, what's going to happen? We have to prop it up during the funeral so people can read it. It's ridiculous.
Maybe they'll... maybe they have it. Well, maybe they do prop it up. We don't have the concept of the open casket over here, do we? They have it in the States.
Isn't it a Catholic thing, though? Isn't that where it comes from?
I don't know. There's a weird... As you know, I used to be obsessed with Bruce Lee, okay?
Yeah.
And there's a weird genre of film called Bruceploitation, where it's in the 70s, when Bruce Lee died and he was, like, making a lot of money, loads of Chinese studios got loads of people who looked little tiny bit like Bruce Lee, and they renamed them like Bruce Lie and Dragon Lee, and they did. There's loads of them. There's dozens of them.
Made them take their tops off.
Yeah. Had the vests on and stuff. And they there's a brilliant one. Bruce Lee fights back from beyond the grave. Nothing to do with Bruce Lee. He's not in it. There's a Chinese fella in it. He's got the same hair and does the same kind of smiles. And in nearly all of those Bruceploitation films, they show actual footage from Bruce Lee's funeral. Including when he died, thousands of people blocked the streets in Hong Kong for the funeral procession. So they show that, and they show dead Bruce Lee in his casket, open casket, dead Bruce Lee. And generally, the plot is either Bruce Lee has faked his own death,
right,
so he can go and solve a crime, or Bruce Lee's been murdered. We see dead Bruce Lee, and his mate, who looks a bit like Bruce Lee, can pretend to be Bruce Lee
to avenge him.
To go and avenge him.
Yeah.
The best example of that is Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger, which is
it's
a great film. That is actually a really good film. If you want to go and watch a little bit of the old Chop Socky this afternoon, Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger. Good film. Have you seen that, Ian?
No, I haven't seen it.
Good film. Awful. Exit the Dragon. What?
Sounds like a rubbish film.
He said utter rubbish. Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger. Honestly, it's a classic of its genre. What you got for us, Ian?
I'm on a top secret mission.
Okay, go on.
I'm delivering very expensive water. But
you're not delivering those. I saw in a petrol station the other day, right? Yeah. These tiny little bottles of water, 25 millilitres of water, right, by one of the famous water companies, 25 millilitres for £1.
No, we're talking probably a bottle of this is about 15 quid.
Flipping it! What, is it passed through the Queen or something? What is it?
I don't know, but I'm delivering it to Piccadilly in central London.
Ooh,
but
suckers, yeah.
What it says on it, I'm just a bit... It says 5 letters on it.
Uh-oh.
But I'm not sure when that ceremony takes place.
What are the 5 letters?
BASTA.
Hang on, what? D?
B for Bravo. A for Apple.
STE. Based?
S. BAFTA.
Oh, you got BAFTA water! Hey, this is brilliant. Right. Now, I've got a mate called Gary, and if you want, he can get you some liquid LSD. What we're going to do is, I'm joking. You've got a BAFTA? Flipping heck.
I've got the water, but I don't know when the BAFTA is. Is it soon?
Let's have a look.
I'm thinking of maybe wangling a ticket if I can speak to the right person down there.
BAFTA.
Withhold their water or something.
BAFTA 2015. I could text my friend Stephen Fry. I won't. Yeah, it was on February the 8th. So I think you're late.
So I'm either late or I'm very early.
Very, very, very early. What, I suppose it's water. Keep. What's the best before date on there?
I don't know because I'm driving.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm hands-free, by the way. I'm hands-free. I'm hands-free.
Oh, of course.
I don't know, but you wouldn't get a short use-by date on water, surely.
Not on BAFTA water.
So when you see them drinking water or whatever around the tables, I'll have been the person delivering it.
Just think, Benedict Cumberbatch could be supping on your water that you've delivered. That's exciting, isn't it?
It is very exciting. Stephen Fry, yeah.
Stephen Fry gets thirsty. Thank you, Ian. 03459 455 555. Now, it's the big story of the day. Villagers in Buckinghamshire say their countryside is being destroyed by kids doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award. So much so, they're planning to write to the Duke himself. I don't get that bit. They were intelligent people that I spoke to. They know the Duke's not going to get involved. I don't understand this story at all. According to Chartridge Parish Council, the way some of the participants behave is a disgrace, and they're responsible for trespassing, spoiling crops, littering, and even kicking a cow, although it turns out that was in self-defence. Christian Scott is South East Director of the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme. Christian, you're the people doing the Duke of Edinburgh are a bunch of thugs.
Good morning, Ian. Good morning. Yes, it's been very interesting hearing your callers.
Yeah.
Can I just, before I start, can I congratulate you on being a bronze holder?
Yes!
That you join an elite group of young people.
Well, not as elite as those SWATs that got to silver and gold. I must admit, I did it and went, do you know what? I don't like sleeping outside, Christian. I don't like camping. I hate camping. And then I did it and there was camping. It's like, I'm not doing that again.
Well, I hope you enjoyed as far as you went, anyway.
I had some. I didn't enjoy the camping or the canoeing, but I did. I'm glad to say I have a bronze award.
Good. Well, congratulations.
How do you respond to people like these farmers and stuff who are saying that the Duke of Edinburgh's award people? I'm finding this very hard to believe, if I'm honest, Christian. Cards on the table. But what's your response to these accusations?
Well, to be honest, we're finding it hard to believe as well. We would take any accusations very seriously, and wherever we get information, we will follow it up. But the problem, as you've highlighted, I think, this morning, is we're getting very sort of broad brush accusations. I mean, this last one of kicking a cow is classic, really. But I, earlier on in the week, was having to deal with the claim that young people had sort of wantonly thrown a piece of wood onto a field so that it would damage a combine harvester. Well, as you've said, we're really talking about 14, 15-year-olds. They wouldn't be older than that because that's not suitable country to do your gold in, and certainly probably not even your silver. And yes, it is a challenge. Yes, a lot of these young people haven't been out into the countryside before, and that's all part of the fun of it and part of their personal development. But we take any accusations very seriously because we insist that they're trained properly before they go out, and that interested to hear Nigel earlier saying he hadn't got much training, because actually most of the groups I come into contact with do a full sort of academic year's training, and I feel quite sorry for them sometimes how much training they do.
Well, I did my that must have changed. I didn't have much training. We went to Mr. Gilmore's house. He was the geography teacher. He was also in charge of the DV. And I remember we sat in his dining room while I remember it so vividly. While we were marking out our route on the map with compasses and bits of string, he was watching the Last Waltz, the band documentary in the next room. I remember it vividly because I wanted to go and watch that. We didn't have much training, but that was 25 years ago, 26 years ago. So I'm assuming things have changed since then.
Well, they must have done, I'm afraid, because we've got all these frameworks now, so participants have a training scheme they're meant to follow. Even the adults who are supervising them go through training as well. And then when they're on expedition, we have these external assessors who have to be accredited themselves. And on top of that, we, in the different regional teams, go out and do random sort of expedition audits. So we're trying to do as much as we can to sort of combat any problems with local landowners. But
I suppose the thing is as well, Christian, and you know, I do take a lot of what has been said by the other side with a pinch of salt, but let me just, come down on their side for a second, to be fair. 14, 15-year-old young people can be little so-and-sos. You can get one bad apple, you can have a whole group of bad apples, and it's not beyond the bounds of belief to think that there might be a few troublemakers scattered amongst the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme that might give a bit of lip to a farmer, that might, kick a cow. 14, 15-year-olds can be hard work.
Yes, yes, they can, but they can be great fun as well. And one of the pleasures I have of my job is going and hearing these young people once they've done their award and the pride they get from it and the experience. I was at a Slough school the other evening. A school in Slough the other evening, and those kids don't get out into the countryside very often at all, and they actually loved their experiences. And so the older ones were egging the younger ones on to go through silver to gold, and it's wonderful to see them taking on these new challenges.
I did this whole story. Go on, sorry, Chris. I just say this whole story does stink a little bit of. We don't want kids round here doing stuff, and it's just come on. We are supposed to be encouraging young people to get out and do stuff and live and not just play video games and smoke tabs.
Sure, exactly. And that's why I've said, I would like to meet Peter Brown and his other councillors and talk through what we can do to help them. It's difficult because they're not all D of E either. I'm afraid one of the things we suffer from is everybody who's walking in the countryside, if they do something wrong, they must be D of E, and I've had some very broad accusations in the past. There are a lot of scouts, geography field trips. There's a whole movement around outside the classroom learning. And we're just part of that. We're proud of being part of that, but we're not all the issues as well. So if I do hope we can sort this.
Christian, if we'll give you Peter Brown. He's the chairman of Chartridge Parish Council. We'll give you his phone number. And then maybe in a couple of days we can get you both on to everyone shook hands and that he's happy and you feel that you're being represented properly. And would that be okay?
Yes, certainly.
Brilliant.
We can do that. And the other thing, actually, can I just say, you say about the Duke and the Duke wouldn't be interested. He actually is very much.
I know he's very hands-on, and he sometimes pops up and hands out the awards themselves. But he's not going to reply to a letter, is he? That's unlikely.
Let's put it to the test. I have seen him reply to queries before, I must say, because he's still very much involved.
Well, hopefully they'll prove me wrong. Christian, stay on the line. We're going to give you that councillor's details, and you two can have a little chitty chat. And let's get the farmers and the people from the village happy. Let's make sure that the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme is represented properly, and let there be peace in the valley.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are long delays on the A40 into London, all the way from the M25 through the Denham roundabout and through to Gypsy Corner in Acton. As the usual morning queues made worse by an accident at the Greenford flyover earlier on. On the M25, it's really slow anti-clockwise between junction 22 for St Albans and 16 for the M40 because of an accident earlier on just after junction 19 for Watford, making it even busier. And on the A1M southbound, it's very busy around junction 7 for Stevenage. It's also slow on the M1 southbound from junction 13 for Bedford towards 11 for Dunstable through the roadworks, and in Hockliffe on the A5 it's slow approaching Woburn Road, and Northampton Road in Yardley Gobion is blocked in both directions by an accident at Yardley Road, which is causing delays from Grafton Regis. On the trains part to Borge though, there are 20-minute delays for East Midlands trains between Bedford and St Pancras International. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Lee Agnew. The headlines: one person is still missing after a fire near Hitchin. The blaze spread through 2 farm cottages between Preston and Charlton yesterday morning. 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. The Prime Minister is announcing new counter-terrorism strategy in Bedfordshire this morning. Parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. A woman who's about to give birth has gone missing from High Wycombe. 25-year-old Ella Pecco is 35 weeks pregnant, was last seen in the town centre on Friday. And villagers of Chartridge in Buckinghamshire say they've had enough of young people spoiling the countryside while taking part in the Duke of Edinburgh Award. They're being accused of spoiling crops, littering and kicking a cow. The weather will be cloudy this morning with the odd spot of rain, turning brighter with some sunshine this afternoon. Top temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius, that's 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Scotland suffered an agonising last-minute defeat to exit the Rugby World Cup at the hands of Australia. The referee incorrectly awarded the Wallabies a late penalty and sprinted off the field without shaking the players' hands at the end of the match. Here's captain Greg Laidlaw.
It's tough to take, especially in that manner, to lose it at the death and put so much into the game. We played for 80 minutes and we just gutted. We gutted to lose and to lose in that manner as well.
Ireland are out of the tournament after being thrashed 43-20 by Argentina, who scored 4 tries at the Millennium Stadium. But Ireland's Rob Kearney doesn't think they need to make big changes to their team or tactics.
No, I don't think so. Listen, we haven't become a bad team overnight. Injuries hurt us a little bit in the last week, but we won't use that as an excuse. If the start had been very different, the outcome could have been different.
On to football, and Jorginho Wijnaldum was the hero as Newcastle earned their first win of the Premier League season, beating Norwich 6-2 at St James's Park.
Out to Wijnaldum for Newcastle, weaves in field and smashes in a goal! Oh, he's got 4!
Watford were beaten 3-0 at Vicarage Road by Arsenal, but the MK Dons won 3-0 against Blackburn in League 1. It was a 2-1 defeat for Luton against Crawley in League 2, despite taking the lead, and Stevenage beat Wycombe 2-1. And finally in cycling, Welling's Laura Trott won the Omnium on the final day of the European Track Cycling Championships. BBC Three Counties News and Sport, more at 9 o'clock.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine, I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone fast with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star. I've never spent much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty. It's true, I hire my body out for pay. Hey, hey, I've gotten burned over Cheryl Teague's, blown up for Raquel Welch. But when I wind up in the hay, it it's only hay. Hey, hey, I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine. 'Cause I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine.
Accusations that the story of children kicking a cow, the accusations that we are milking this story. As my sister did that from New Zealand. Oh, wait! Hang on! Whoa! It's Kaniki. Hang on. It's all gone Kaniki. Hang on. No. It's all gone Kaniki there. I don't quite know what was going on. Let's go to Anne. Morning, Anne!
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
Yes, these youngsters in Charteridge, I just admire youngsters from the inner city who go on the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. Good luck to them. Could the organisers please just explain the countryside to them and then say to them, you're going to walk around on the footpaths, on farmers' fields. If you see any litter, please could you pick it up? If you see anything dangerous, could you report it? Then the youngsters will feel they own the situation a bit and they're not just being condemned.
I bet that the majority of the young people doing this do that, though.
What? No, if they see litter lying around, pick it up.
Right. Well, I suspect...
sort of take... be a champion of the countryside and don't condemn them, because I don't think the majority of them do drop litter.
No, I don't think the majority of them do drop litter either. This story just leaves a slightly bitter taste in my mouth of spite.
And just say, thank you very much for what you already do. We really appreciate it.
And it's an excellent idea.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Oh, I don't think the majority of young people do this, and this is the problem I have with this story. I think it's one or two bad apples, and let's be honest, we've all come across a farmer who's got a bit of a temper, haven't we? And those the footpaths and the right-of-way, they're not clearly delineated. Just so you get... Thank you very much indeed. Couldn't think of that word 40 minutes ago when I tried to, but they're not that obvious. There's public footpaths near me, right? And I don't know... I know where it starts, because there's an arrow that points that, but then... Well, then where does it go? I mean, where does it go? Really? Eloise is on the line. Morning, Eloise. Eloise? Eloise is not on the line. Goodbye, Eloise. She done gone, innit? She done gone. So, there's a story I've found in the Sun, which I've labelled... I make notes, okay? I write down the newspaper, the page, and just a little two-word description of the story. I've labelled this one Buddhist Twits. Kinda. Have you seen these Buddha guys? Have you seen the Buddha guys?
Which particular Buddha guys?
The twitty ones.
No, tell me. What makes them twitty?
They've got a hole in their mouth that's not their mouth.
I've seen them.
Right, so there's a hole in the side of their face, right? And what they're doing is... They shove things. They shove things through the hole in their cheeks.
Now, this is supposed to be in celebration of being a vegetarian. So leave your meat alone, your cheek meat.
And I'm going to say this carefully. It's based in the place in Thailand that sounds like a swear word.
Yeah.
Phu. So when they're shoving through, though, it's not like they're shoving through their Greggs or something and going, "Oh, I can do this." One of them's got a machine gun shoved through his hole. The other one's got the handle of a child's tricycle.
What?
Shoved through. Let me see.
She won't want that back.
He's got a trike shoved through his face.
That's just showing off, isn't it?
A Buddhist devotee is impaled by the handlebar of a child's tricycle during a bizarre ritual in Thailand. Another pierced his face with the muzzle of an assault rifle in an attempt to purify themselves.
Oh, people funny.
People are stupid, and I know that technically Buddhism isn't a religion, so I can't, but...
It's a philosophy, isn't it?
Well, it's an excuse to watch Monkey Magic, isn't it? Eloise is back!
Hello.
Good morning, Eloise. What you got for us?
I was just calling in about the Duke of Edinburgh story.
Oh, yeah, go on.
I'm doing my Gold Duke of Edinburgh at the moment.
Okay.
So I've already done my silver and bronze.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that the training now is a lot better. and anybody that does their bronze Duke of Edinburgh would know that they shouldn't litter, they shouldn't walk on private property, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that the accusations that the farmer's probably making, he probably thinks it's Duke of Edinburgh students, but they're probably not.
Thank you. There's questioning 101, Eloise. I didn't ask him. How do you know they're Duke of Edinburgh?
Because it's a scout camp, isn't it? A scout-run camp.
Right.
And all sorts of people camp there.
Yeah, all sorts of people camp there, including, I don't know, maybe druggies or something. No, not druggies. But, anyone could camp there, can't they? It doesn't have to be Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah, loads of Duke of Edinburgh campsites are open to the public as well.
But also, Eloise, 14, 15-year-old lads...
Yeah.
They can be little, they can be naughty.
They can be, but normally the type of student that takes part in the Duke of Edinburgh aren't like that.
Well.
I remember my bronze, and everybody was just more terrified of not getting their bronze than breaking the country code.
I suspect you were hanging out with some good guys.
Didn't you find, though, that with the bronze, you got a lot of people who thought it would be a laugh, and then they get weeded out as it goes further on. So you go to your silver, and they're a bit more serious. And then gold, it's really just,
Swats.
The swats and the squares.
Yeah,
and I can say this because I did it.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, you kind of still want to do well on your bronze because you're like, it's the easiest one. I can't fail at the easiest one.
So are you doing gold now, Eloise?
Yes.
What have you got to do for a gold these days?
You have to go on a 5-day hike.
Oh, flipping
You doing
it.
Snowdon?
No, I'm doing Dartmoor.
Oh, flipping it.
Gosh, there's werewolves out
And
there.
you camp for 4 nights, and 2 of those nights are wild camping. So you just camp on by yourself in the middle of nowhere
Stick to the
thing.
paths, Eloise. Stick to the paths. That's my only advice.
Is it 50 miles you've got to do still?
I'm not sure how far it is, actually. We haven't planned our actual routes for the actual expedition yet.
Pop question. There's a herd of cows coming towards you. You're in a field. What are you going to do in self-defence?
Stand really still.
No, you
I'm not
punch.
going to kick a cow. That's mean.
Kick a cow.
No, that's mean.
The cow is coming towards you. It's you or the cow.
Run the other direction.
You can't. There's like a haunted forest behind you.
Okay, then maybe I would have to use some self-defense.
You've just failed your gold Duke of Edinburgh. That was a trick question. I'm ripping off my mask. I'm actually the Duke of Edinburgh, and you've got to be on your guard 24/7. You should never kick a cow. That's just mean, Eloise. You failed.
Okay, Philip.
Thank you very much indeed. There we go, you see. That's it. Good luck, Eloise. Best of luck with that. What would you do if a cow was coming towards you? If you can't run, this is what happens: is people run from cows and they fall over in the mud. They slip in the mud, and
also
so
that's a come on. If you run away from an animal, it's a whoa.
Well,
right,
if you fall over
let's
and
go.
your bottom is up in the air, that is animal magic. Literally, you're casting animal spells. But that's how people die. They trip over in the mud, and then the herd stampedes over them, and it happens. It happens a lot. David Blunkett.
He was lucky to escape with his life.
He kicked a cow, didn't he?
I don't know if he. Well, he got away.
His blind dog got trampled by cows, didn't he?
There was an incident. Let me find the details.
There was a Blunkett bovine balls up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
A bovine bundle.
It happened, honestly. Blunkett, he was out walking with his guide dog, and there was like a stampede, and he nearly got killed.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he?
David Blunkett trampled by cows.
Yeah.
Injured protecting guide dog Sadie
Ladies
from a herd of marauding cows. Broken rib happened in Derbyshire.
Ladies and gentlemen, that Victoria Derbyshire. What she won't do to get a story. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. Oh, here we go. Look. Look at Paul in Harpenden. This is what's wrong with this country. Iain, talking about footpaths not being clearly defined, the best thing to do is take a map or look at your phone on Map App, which will tell you where you are. Come on, Iain, you are a bronzy. Right, well, we didn't have mobile phones in my day. If you're going out camping for 5 days, you won't be taking them. You can't take a mobile phone on your Duke of Edinburghs. And I'm not going to take a map when I go and walk the dog, for crying out loud. All I'm saying is, I just want to know... I was just a boy, my sister come dancing, it's only natural... Oh, we're late for the travel, sorry, I do apologise.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's very busy on the A40 into London from the M40 at the London roundabout past the M25 towards Acton and Gypsy Corner because of an accident earlier at the Greenford flyover, and it's also adding to the normal rush hour queues. On the M25 it's very slow anti-clockwise from junction 22 for St Albans to 16 for the M40 after an accident happened earlier on at junction 19 for Watford, and the M1 is slow southbound past junction 9 for Redbourne. Just south of Hitchin in Preston, Charlton Road's closed by Holes Farm because of a fire there, and that means that traffic's been diverted between Preston Village and Charlton. And in Yardley Gobian on Northampton Road, that's closed in both directions at Yardley Road because of an accident. On the trains, East Midlands trains and Thameslink services have 20-minute delays between Bedford and St Pancras International. Samantha Breath, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. We've got a text telling us exactly what to do if a herd of cows is stampeding towards you. We'll give that information out soon. Let's just hope there's nobody listening in a field somewhere on a tranny with a load of cows going, quick, tell us now, quick, what's the answer? 8:46, these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An investigation is underway into the cause of a fire near Hitchin, which is believed to have killed one person. The Prime Minister will be in Bedfordshire this morning to announce measures to stop teenagers being radicalised. And youngsters doing their Duke of Edinburgh award are accused of spoiling crops, littering and kicking a cow near Buckinghamshire village of Chartridge. Let's get the weather!
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a rather cloudy start to the new working week. 1 or 2 spots of rain around as well, but they hopefully will start to clear up to a certain extent and they should dry out. And eventually this afternoon we should see the cloud thin and break, particularly further north you are. We could see a bit of sunshine later on today. Temperatures likely to reach around 14 Celsius in the sunshine. It's not actually going to feel too bad at all. Overnight tonight, some lengthy clear spells developing towards dawn. That will allow the temperature to drop down into single figures, so quite a chilly night, 6 Celsius the minimum, and a chilly start tomorrow, but the clearer skies tonight mean we will get a brighter start tomorrow morning. More sunshine throughout the day on the whole and a maximum temperature of 15 Celsius, and that's your forecast.
Thank you very much.
Every weekday from 3.
It's not just about what we bring you.
Starting off on the M25, it's particularly heavy moving anti-clockwise.
It's also about what you bring us.
In the end, I could only eat off my ironing board.
Your stories.
Every room in the house was I was climbing over mountains of rubbish.
Your humour.
There's a reason why you earn the big bucks, you see. That sort of insightful comment is exactly right.
Your opinions.
Well, the culture's got to change because the police can't do it and the traffic wardens are so busy. So the culture has to change.
I think parents do change into different human beings when they are picking their kids up.
Roberto Perroni.
And everyone across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
So if a cow is coming towards you, this is according to Janet. I've not tested this. I will go and test it later on with one of my children. If a cow is coming towards you, you wave both your arms from side to side at them. This does work. I've seen it, says Janet. But if it's a herd, then it's different. Anyway, I'm talking about flipping cows for. Mark's on the line. Morning, Mark.
Morning, Ian. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. What you got for us?
2 things. I saw you on Saturday, first of all, and I thought you were really good.
You sound surprised.
Well, I think you admit to yourself on the first picture you pull up, I think you've aged well, but that's not what I phoned up about.
I've aged all right. I'm 63. You wouldn't believe it, would you? We might do, actually.
No, you're doing well.
Thank you, Bob. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Right, on Friday at work, I've come up with a solution. It's 2 birds in 1 stone, actually. Where Greece are in this position where they own all this money.
Yeah, they owe it.
Where they owe this money, where they've sort of gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if all the Euro leaders sat round a table and they said to Greece, right, you owe us all this money. What we'll do is we'll scrap that loan.
Yeah.
But they accept all the refugees. If you put the numbers on paper, if they owe $7 billion,
yeah,
it's going to end up costing more money to each country to sort of take them all.
But hang on a minute. But then they're going to get in debt again with all those refugees. Why should Greece have to have them all?
So I'm just saying that imagine if UK was in the same position as Greece, where we were sort of literally bankrupt,
Yeah.
and they put out a referendum saying, right, they're going to scrap the loans, so we're back to zero. We don't owe anyone any money.
Yeah.
And it's not forever. It's a planned thing, just 5 years. So in 5 years' time, hopefully we've got rid of ISIS, and then the people can actually go back home where they say they want to go back home anyway.
Here's the thing I don't understand about world finances, Mark, and you sound like an intelligent man who thinks things through, so maybe you can help me, right?
Go on, then.
Every country in the world owes millions, billions to every other country, right? Every country owes money to other countries, okay?
Yeah.
So why don't we just say we're resetting the clock? We owe money to countries. Every bit of money that's owed from every other country, we're going to reset the clock. Nobody owes anybody anything, and we start again. Why can't we do that?
I think that boils down to there's people obviously in the world who are making a lot of money out of that, aren't they?
Well, exactly, you say. But why don't we all make flags and get those people out of those high-pay positions and just say, right, Africa, you owe us like billions of dollars. Forget it; it's written off. China, we owe you billions of dollars. Any chance we could write that off? Excellent, fantastic. Europe, we owe you a bit of money. Can we just call it quits and the money that you owe us, we owe you? We just forget it. If every country did that, nobody'd be in debt. I'm going to say it. We'd all be quite wealthy, wouldn't we?
Well, we should be, yeah. The amount of money that I suppose we do have to pay in taxes and stuff.
Well, hang on a second. Thank you, Mark. That makes perfect sense to me, Catherine. Perfect sense. Doesn't it? We get rid of the debts that we owe people. Let me go to Kelly Betts. She's an intelligent woman, not here for much longer. Let's get our money's worth. So Africa owes us billions of dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'd have to convert it into pounds anyway, just to confuse things.
Yep.
Let's just write that off and say, Africa, you don't owe us anything.
Right.
We owe China billions.
Okay.
We send China a letter saying, all right, guys, is it all right if we just scrap the debt? They say, yeah, fine.
Right.
That would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure.
See? Catherine's pulling a face as if to say, wouldn't work.
Why don't Africa pay China and cut us out?
Africa can't pay anyone. Some places in Africa can.
We're never... Yeah, the blooming dictators in their mansions made of gold. They've got golden toilet paper to wipe their backsides with.
Well, it's good as smart and it deserves to.
We're never going to get the money from Africa, and let's be honest, we ain't going to give the money to China. Shh, I didn't say that. So we might as well just write it all off.
Isn't that the way world economies work?
Sorry?
Well, then we owe them, so we start giving them beneficial trade deals, all that kind of
Well, no,
stuff.
but if we just scrap everything, just scrap it.
Then we don't have to talk to anybody ever again.
Well, wait, no, why are you being racist?
I'm not. Just saying.
Feels it?
Why am I being racist?
I don't know, Catherine. That's a question you need to ask yourself. Turn the microphone off so I got the last word in there. Uh-oh. This is awkward.
Why am I being racist?
Sorry?
Why are you saying
I don't know, Catherine. That's a question you need to ask yourself. Turn my mic off so I got the last word in. So, you're going to stick... I'm not turning your microphone on.
I could just shout louder. Go through your microphone.
No, you can't, because I'm turning mine off. Go away.
Stop calling me a racist.
I'm not calling you a racist, but why are you being racist? Yeah. I totally beat her there, Kelly. Did you see that?
I did see that, yeah.
Nice one. Great to have you back, Kath.
Sorry, no, I was talking to Ian.
Dailies on that fader 3.
Boss.
Morning, boss.
Things are getting tense in there.
Very, very tense, and that's the way I like it. We just had a text here. Is Kelly really going? Why, where, man, gutted, love her voice. Punctuation would have helped that text. She's leaving.
It's a Kelly fan, though.
She's leaving at the end of the month. Absolutely true story. She is going to be one of the... Well, she's working in the catering department at BBC Coventry and Warwickshire, which basically means she's in the canteen dishing out the slops to the talent that works there.
But she gets her own tabard, so silver lining.
Gets her own tabard, which is
there will be a tribute package from the streets to come in the next 2 weeks.
There'll be that from you, and I'm looking forward to that. And I've also asked Kelly to make her own... we must remember, tomorrow we'll do that. If you want to call in with a tribute to Kelly Betts... delivered in the past tense, then we'll record that and Kelly will make her own package, because I really haven't got the time to I haven't got the time, Justin. Do you know what I mean? I'm busy guy. Busy guy.
Busy guy, yeah.
Garys, who are your
Yes.
favourite Garys?
Well, the thing is, this morning, you spoke about this in the first hour about some famous Garys like Gary Newman, Gary Barlow.
Yep.
I tried to make this real. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been on the streets this morning looking for Garys. Okay. And no, it's fine.
There's
And,
not that many out there. That's the thing. In 2013, out of the 700,000 babies born, only 28 were called Garys. That's like 15% or something. It's nothing.
It's awful. It's hurt me. The name could be extinct very soon. So we're looking for Garys, and also I've been looking for people to put forward a fantastic Gary in their life.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what the streets had to say this morning. So you know Gary. What's his name?
Gary Hobbs.
Gary Hobbs, yeah?
Yeah.
Is he a special Gary?
Not really, no.
Oh. Well, we're celebrating Garys. He's your mate. You don't sound like much of a mate to me. We're celebrating Garys. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris, which Gary would you like to put forward?
Gary Penning. He's my old boss. He's a great bloke. Yeah.
What's so special about Gary Penning?
His charisma, I suppose, infectious laughter. Generosity. Yeah.
Sounds like a great Gary.
He's he's the best Gary I know.
Oh, here we have a Gary. Gary, what's your surname?
Bourne.
Gary Bourne, you are special. Your name very soon could be extinct. How does that make you feel as a Gary?
Quite pleased. It's a stupid name.
It's a quality name. It's manly, it rolls off the tongue, it's everything you'd want from a name.
No, I don't agree. No. I'd never call my child Gary.
Madam, the name could be extinct very soon. Which Gary would you like to put forward?
No. I've heard of it.
You've heard of the name Gary?
I've heard of the name Gary mentioned many a time.
But you don't know a Gary?
No.
What does the name Gary mean to you?
Nothing.
Gary, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
The name Gary could be extinct very soon. What do you think about that, Gary?
Don't really have an opinion on it.
Yeah, no. Your name could be extinct very soon. You should have a big opinion on that. No more Garys. No more vibes.
There'll be more Garys eventually.
No. The name's dying out. Okay, Gary, just lastly, before you go back to work, what would you say to anybody out there who's about to have a child? Would you recommend the name Gary?
Yeah. Short, sweet and simple.
Powerful bit of radio there, Justin.
Well, the thing is, people and their memories of Garys and, Garys that they know and love. And I was a little bit upset, actually, talking to somebody called Gary who says it's a horrible name. That hurt me badly.
And guys, I'm being double clever here. Because I'm playing, do you recognise this music?
It's Coldplay, isn't it?
Oh, for crying
no,
out
it's
loud.
Snow Patrol.
It's Snow Patrol, of course. And can you name one member of Snow Patrol?
Gary?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol. Yeah, oh yes.
Clever.
Speaking of Garys, you all right, Gary?
Yeah!
You're a dying breed.
Well, it's been said many a time.
Okay, you must, go on, spit it out.
Is my name dying out?
No, your name is Gary, but it is dying out.
Ah, right. And he's just been doing a whole Gary special on the streets.
He's just done it. He just done it, Gary. You just did it, didn't you, Dealey? That was it.
Yeah, that was the Gary package, yeah.
That was it, Gary.
Right.
Do you know what you're doing, Gary? You're giving Garys a bad name. I mean, they've got a bad name already. They're called Gary. You're giving them a double bad name, like a literal bad name and a metaphorical bad name. How does that make you feel?
Brilliant.
Anything you want to say to the boys and girls?
Keep Gary in the world. Just keep calling your kids Gary. It's a great name. Be Gary. Be more Gary.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's very slow on the M25 anti-clockwise between junction 22 for St Albans and 21A for the M1 South. It's also busy on the A1M southbound around junction 7 for Stevenage, and it's slow on the M1 from junction 13 for Bedford to 11 for Dunstable. On Northampton Road in Yardley Gobian, that's been partially blocked in both directions by an accident at the junction for Yardley Road, and that's causing a delay back from Grafton Regis. In High Wycombe, it's very busy at the moment on the A40, it's slow in both directions, and on the trains, East Midlands and Thameslink have 20-minute delays between Bedford and St Pancras International. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Tomorrow, of course, we are celebrating the magic of Barry's. It's a Barry special. That's it, that's your lot. Don't forget you can go to the BBC iPlayer and you can listen to the show What Me and Kath Done on Saturday. If you go in and you type in Iain Lee, Catherine Boyle, it pops up. Literally, I've got no idea what happened. It was a phone-in show with no phone-in topics. That's it, that's your lot. Thank you, Dealey. Thank you, Betts. Thank you, Grumpy Jamie. Thank you, Catherine Boyle. Back tomorrow at 6. Till then, from us, ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Monday, it's 9 o'clock, and on today's Big Phone In, should preschool be compulsory for all 3-year-olds? A Conservative think tank says parents should be denied child benefit if they don't send their children to preschool. Bright Blue argues children who stay at home may not develop the necessary skills to do well at primary school, and we need penalties to force parents to take advantage of free schooling. Ryan Shorthouse, who speaks for the Pressure Group, says the poorest families and people from ethnic minorities are least likely to take up preschool places, and this may be holding their children back. Well, I want to hear your view on this morning. Should preschool be compulsory for all 3-year-olds? Here's my telephone number for your call. It's 03459 455 555.
This is the JVS show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll take your calls on that in just a second, but first let's get the latest BBC News at 9 o'clock with Lee Agnew.
One person is still missing following a fire near Hitchin. The blaze destroyed 2 homes between Preston and Charlton. Barry Caffrey reports.
The fire took hold in the cottages at Offley Holes at around 6 o'clock yesterday morning. 8 fire crews were called to the scene and 2 adults and 2 children were rescued. But 1 person is still missing and it's believed they may have died. An investigation into the cause of the fire is being carried out.
Parents are to be given more scope to ask for their children's passports to be cancelled if they fear they're at risk of radicalisation. It's part of a new counter-terrorism strategy being announced by the Prime Minister in Bedfordshire this morning. Our correspondent Daniel Sanford says convicted terrorists will be treated in the same way as paedophiles.
Sex offenders, their offences are then recorded by the Disclosure and Barring Service, and anyone wanting to employ them to work with children has to check with the Disclosure and Barring Service whether or not they have convictions for sexual offences, and that is going to be extended to people who have convictions for terrorism. So basically anyone using people, even as volunteers to work with children, will have to check with the Disclosure and Barring Service that they haven't got convictions for terrorism.
The RMT union is raising concern about changes to the way track safety is monitored 15 years on from the Hatfield rail disaster. 4 passengers died and 70 were injured when a train derailed south of Hatfield. Assistant General Secretary Mick Lynch says the system is too complicated.
Well, the chaos is that there's all sorts of electronic permits that are not working properly. One person's opening a permit that belongs to another person. There's all sorts of IT log jams, and we're simply asking the company to take the system offline so that we can correct it and get a system that we can all be confident in.
A woman who's about to give birth has gone missing from High Wycombe. 25-year-old Ella Pecco is 35 weeks pregnant, was last seen in the town centre on Friday. Youngsters doing their Duke of Edinburgh Award are being accused of spoiling crops, littering and kicking a cow in Buckinghamshire. Charteridge Parish Council says the way some of them are behaving is a disgrace. Director of the award in the South East, Christian Scott, says they might not necessarily be to blame.
Everybody who's walking in the countryside, if they do something wrong,